what life coaches do is we don't diagnose you. Like if you said, I'm really, really sad. We don't say you have chronic depression. Here's an antidepressant.
Yep.
We don't diagnose. We'll say, oh, you're depressed? Okay, what makes you depressed? And it's like, then they go into what it is, and it's like, okay, now we're going to face that. Drugs are a Band-Aid. They cover the problem, but they don't fix it.
Please preach.
Yeah, they don't fix the problem. What are you going to do to fix that problem? Are you going to continue to be on drugs for the rest of your life so that problem just keeps getting pushed away? What I do is we bring it to the forefront, and it gets really, really ugly. There's a lot of tears. There's a lot of anger sometimes, and it's just like, that's what you have to do.
You may never realize the power that you can instill into other people just by a simple conversation. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Burn Down Podcast. Today's guest, actually reached out to us via email, said, hey, love what you guys are doing. We said, hey, he goes, I want to be on the show. We're like, bing, bang, boom, let's get him on the show. Yeah. And here he is. We have Rob Bentivegna, who is certified personal trainer, certified nutritionist, online coach, lifestyle coach, mental health coach.
Let's go.
And here he is now in the studio. See, this is what happens.
NFL Long Islander.
That's why NFL Long Islander, right?
That's why he's really here.
But here's another thing. Ask, you shall receive, right? Shoot, man.
Yeah.
Emailed us. We said, hey, boom, get in the studio. Bing, bang, boom,
as I was telling Rob, we got a lot of emails for people to be on the podcast, and we kind of just ignore it, but we had someone reschedule. I saw your
ignore is a harsh word. We don't really ignore. But
do you respond to them?
I just, you're right. Okay. You're right. Okay.
And Rob just happened to email us at the right time. I saw he was a Long Island guy. Someone just rescheduled us. I said, bro, come on in. Rob, welcome to the Burn Down Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, guys.
That was a long intro.
That was one of the best intros I've ever been given, so thank you.
Gotta do it, man. You gotta preface the whole thing. You gotta let people know, okay? Because somebody shoot, man. I want to be on the show. Boom, here you are. You're on the show.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Closed mouths don't get fed. We're happy to have you on.
Thank you.
We like people who have a very philosophical background with the life coaching, with the motivation, with the workouts, with the nutrition.
Well, that's the thing is it all matched exactly. It
my
matches our vibe. Yeah. Exactly what we preach on the show. Yeah. And I love that you're a nutritionist too, because so many people say cigars are bad for you, bro. You shouldn't smoke cigars. And we're like, come on, you just don't understand it. Like, you're actually the second nutritionist that we've met.
Really?
That smokes cigars.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mike,
that's a trend.
We met a couple of doctors too.
Yeah,
a couple of doctors the last couple of weeks.
And mental health specialists. Cigars are great for mental health. These are all the things we preach. So I'm like, you got to get on the show. We got to talk about this.
Yep.
So, Rob, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to be smoking some blueprints, but we want to get into, how you said you're 28.
28.
28. So we want to get into how you have your company is called T60 Health Incorporated.
Yep.
Right, so we want to talk about how you got into it, how you became personal trainer, how did you get into the life coach, all the whole background. But first, let's light up.
But first, we smoke.
We smoke. Okay.
Yeah.
We have to light up our stogies.
We want the autobiography.
You got it
from start to finish.
I appreciate you guys passing over a blueprint because I've been hearing some really good things about these things. So
appreciate it, man. The best on Long Island, the best in the country will be soon.
And we'll shout out the new. New torches, okay. We got
Zippo new torches.
We got Zippo torches now. We have Burnout Podcast torches. We have Burnout Podcast cutters. We have lighters. We have hats.
So who was Rob in high school? Let's start with there. Who was Rob in high school?
Yeah, take us back. Okay.
So Shore and Wading River resident for my whole life. Long Island resident my whole life.
That's out east for people who don't know.
Yes, North Shore of Long Island, and I went to Shore and Wading River High School. Graduated, Regents diploma, the whole nine. Wasn't an athlete in high school or really at all. I tried cross country a couple times, but aside from fitness and all the other things that I do, I'm a big outdoorsman. So hunting, fishing, all that stuff, everything outside. So yeah,
man shit.
Yeah. So any sport that I had interest in was normally a fall sport, and fall is hunting season.
Hunting season.
That doesn't work.
Sorry.
For me, so, yeah.
Sorry, coach.
So
I'm gonna get me a book.
I mean, funny story to start it off. When I did try cross country, I didn't realize it was a fall sport at the time. So I showed up to a meet, and I'm like, I see the schedule, and I'm like, October, November, like that's the rut for whitetails. I got to be in the woods. I can't be here. So I'm skipping meets and everything.
I'm in a different style of cross country. Okay.
I'm skipping practices. My coach comes to me like, "Where have you been?" I'm like, "I didn't know this was a fall sport. I'm sorry." She goes, "Well, we can't technically kick you off the team, but like, you're not a really good teammate. And I'm like, well, my priorities right now, cross country is not one of them. I didn't know.
Listen, Coach, you don't know where I was? I was sighting down an 8-point buck, 100 yards. I had locked. That's where I was, Coach.
I got it. My buddy, one of my buddies, Joe, was a big-time hunter, and I'd always go with him on his little trips, and I would always say, hey, man, did you catch a deer? And he goes, dude, you don't catch deer. You shoot deer, bro. For like a few years, I was like, catch anything? He's like, you catch fish. You shoot deer.
That's it.
I'm not bringing you anymore if you keep saying catch.
I might catch a rabbit. You could catch rabbits, I guess.
If it's still alive, I guess.
But it's,
catch it, right? Yeah.
The point is to shoot.
Depends on how long it's been. Depends on how long you waited until you went to your trap.
Well, you shoot the damn thing.
Yeah. So,
Tom, before you continue,
yeah,
I want to ask about the hunting here.
Let's go for it.
What's the biggest you've ever?
For whitetail?
The biggest kill.
Biggest kill so far was actually for whitetail was a 13-pointer last year.
Nice.
2 years ago.
And for people that don't know,
it's big. That's a big
what are the points?
That's a big rack.
What do the points represent for people that aren't hunters?
Yeah.
Points. Oh, trophy.
Yeah, but what are the points? Are the actual points on the?
Oh yes, that's right. Okay,
antlers,
yeah.
Right?
So all those it's their tines. So all the tines that are sticking off, those you count those up. So there was 13 of them on his head.
That's
which is
one.
big rack. Yeah. And then this past February, I went upstate, or actually Upper Peninsula of Pennsylvania, and I went to a ranch and I shot with everything I do is archery. I only shoot bows.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
yeah. So,
crossball or
no compound bow.
Oh, that's what I meant. I meant compound bow. Yeah.
So
that's some real Joe Rogan shit.
Yeah. So I shot a Spanish ibex ram. So
how big is that?
It's basically two big ass horns. Yeah, look it up. You can look it up.
A Spanish.
So look up.
Ram?
So technically, a Spanish ram. If you go to my personal Instagram, you'll be able to see it. But
okay.
A Spanish ram. A Spanish ram's horns they usually go up and then they go straight out like this, but they corkscrew. This one is a cross between that and an ibex. So an ibex horns go like this to be like a rainbow. So he had like a spiraled rainbow coming out of his head.
Thing.
So
look it's on your personal Instagram.
Yeah. So right now I think you're actually on my coaching one. So
how do I go to the
look
personal?
me up? So Rob _Bentivegna is my personal.
I'm gonna look.
So you'll see it on there. Yeah.
Up.
So
Rob
that's
_
Bent.
it's actually a picture of me with my bow and everything is the picture of
Bent.
it.
Hey, why don't you just put it in for me?
You got it. Lay that right there.
Because I want to see.
Rob
I want to see
yeah.
the last thing.
Yeah.
Bent-
right there. You got it. Right there.
Bentivegna?
Right there. There it is.
Oh,
It's not
I gotta follow
underscore.
you
That's
back.
my fault. It's not underscore anymore. That was the one that
Oh,
got
what is it?
hacked.
Begnaventa 22.
22. Yep.
Got
Yep.
it.
It got
Okay,
my
and
last
then there's
one.
where's is it this thing?
Nope. So go back.
Is it this one?
That's it. That's him.
This one?
Yep. That's him. Yep.
Dude, that's
Yo,
crazy.
that's sick.
Yeah.
And where was this?
Pennsylvania. Tioga. So like literally like all the way north.
There he
Pennsylvania,
is.
Up in like the mountains of
In
Like-
the hunting gear.
Is
Yeah.
it
I can't even see him.
like by Pittsburgh or the complete opposite side?
complete opposite side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my buddy who I was telling you about, he has family in Sugar Grove, Pennsylvania, and that's on basically the west side of Pennsylvania, the top left corner of PA.
Love it.
Yeah.
And they frack oil since the 1930s.
Oh wow.
So they have a bunch of property. They're like an Amish country.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a bunch of blinds and tree houses
Yeah,
all throughout their property.
I
and
couldn't
it's crazy.
believe it when we were driving up to Pennsylvania. Like my aunt lives in Lincoln University, so she's right outside of Lancaster. So that's like the heart of Amish country.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
like every field you pass, you just see like shooting houses in and like on opening day of hunting season, Pennsylvania, all the schools are closed. They closed down everything.
Really?
Yes, opening day of hunting season,
Man, we
everything
should do
gets
that
closed.
here in New York.
Yeah, damn right.
Yeah, right.
I say it all the
Yeah,
time.
right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. They want to ban cigars. Are they going to give us days to shoot a gun?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
right.
You know what they were talking about? They're talking about implementing.
Don't even go there. I don't even want to know another thing that New York's going to be doing to piss me off, all right?
They're talking about implementing taking days off from school because it's too hot.
Oh my gosh.
Did you hear that?
Let's just talk about Rob, all right? I want to hear about Rob.
Okay, all right.
I fucked in New York.
Oh, man.
All right.
So
Okay, so
yep.
all right, so you talked about during the fall,
Yep,
not
yep.
being an athlete because
Yep.
you're out hunting.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
So, so basically graduated from high school and then went to University of New Haven in West Haven, Connecticut. So,
All right.
did only 2 years there because I just couldn't balance social life and school. It was just an issue for me. So, came home.
Too much partying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
He said that in a very light manner.
Yep.
Yeah.
I couldn't do the social thing in
Yeah,
school.
yeah,
too much
AKA,
partying.
I was going on benders.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Put that gently, right?
Yeah, and I didn't like when I was in high school. I didn't party. I was never a partier. So I got, and it wasn't because of my parents or anything like that.
Probably why you partied more.
100%.
Yeah.
I was free. I felt like freedom. I could do whatever I want. I got no one to answer to.
We're going streaking.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So yeah, I did 2 years there, and then came home, and that's where I went into a really, really dark place, believe it or not. So I felt like a loser because like all my friends graduated. My sister she has her master's degree in social work. We say it all the time. If you could get paid to be a full-time student, she would do it. Like she's just that person.
She's very studious.
100%. And she works very,
she's a
very
bookworm.
hard. So, bookworm.
She's a nerd.
Yeah.
She's a nerd.
You're a nerd. Yeah.
It's all right. I was a nerd. I can say it because I'm a nerd. So
yeah.
You're a nerd.
Yeah, she's a
Nerd
nerd.
alert.
Yeah. So, so I came home and I went to Suffolk to finish up. And then I literally just bounced around from job to job. And, I met who's now my wife and her father and my brother-in-law now, they're both business owners. So I always had that interest in owning my own company, doing my own thing. And then being around it and seeing what that freedom and that hard work can do, I was like, okay, this is what I need to do. I need to be my own boss. I need to do my own thing. So fast forward a little bit, we went to, this will kind of get into like the inspiration for the life coaching aspect of things.
Yeah.
I went to a Tony Robbins event. You guys know what Tony Robbins is? Yeah.
Of course.
So
If you don't mind me asking,
Sure.
how much did that run you?
I actually have to pay for it.
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah,
because I heard that they get.
It is. Yeah.
I heard
so
that they're like
it's
thousands.
It's like $5,000 to go to the one. The one that I went to is normally like 3,000 to 4,000, and then the other one I went to, it's like 6,000-7,000 to go.
and that's just a
Dang.
general
It's crazy.
admission ticket.
General
right?
admission. That's
What did
it.
you have to do? You had to do a little hawk tour?
You, dude. I knew that was
girl,
coming out.
Oh my goodness!
I knew that
gracious.
was coming out,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Come on, I gotta do
I
it. It's
knew
everywhere.
it was
it's
coming
so
out. You were
funny.
holding on to that. You had the bow drawn and you were
Yeah, like-
ready. You were waiting to fire that one.
I saw that
Yeah.
Spanish ram and I just went, pow.
Yeah.
Waiting to fire that bad
Yeah.
boy.
But yeah, no, I went to. So there's two events. So sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, this is why if we're interrupting you a little bit,
Yeah.
it's also to let you
Let me
smoke.
smoke. I appreciate
because
it.
I feel bad
It's all right.
that the guest never gets to finish their cigar because they're always talking
Yeah,
so
yeah.
much.
Yeah.
So if we interject, just tell a little something, it's kind of
Smoke.
like a, hey, smoke a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you got it. But what was this? Oh yeah, so my father-in-law, he is actually part of Tony Robbins Lions. So basically there's just the people that pay to go, and then there's the Plats. So they have like a membership almost. Like the Plats, I don't know how much they pay a year to be a part of it, but they get like free tickets, they get free different amenities. And then my father-in-law, he's part of the Lions. So there's only like 20 or 30 of them. And
What's the Lions? What's that?
Yeah, so Lions is like there's only like 20 or 30 men and women, and they're like big wigs in the business industry. So like they make a lot of money and they do really well. And they go on like these. My father-in-law's been all over the world. He's been to Africa. He's been all over these places.
What's
with
your
Tony
father-in-law
Robbins.
do?
He is medical real estate. I guess we like surgery centers. and
Medical
stuff.
real estate?
Yeah, he owns like medical centers.
That just
and stuff.
sounds like a lot of money.
Yeah, so I'm keeping. He knew I was coming on here, so I won't mention his name or anything.
You don't have to,
But
it's
yeah,
fine.
that's what he does. So
Medical real estate.
Yeah, but you'd never like if you met him, you'd never know he's
Most
a
people
success.
most people that
No
are
idea. Yeah.
like there's a lot like obviously the big billionaire names
Yeah.
or the big very successful names that are all over social media, but the majority of the okay, we'll just call it millionaires, right? But the majority of the millionaires that are in America, they're just like regular people that you have no idea.
Yeah.
Like you sit next to them, they're behind you in McDonald's, and you
Yeah.
don't realize that they got 15 million
Exactly.
in the stock market.
Yeah.
Like,
Dude, I met this man literally shoveling snow in his underwear. Not even kidding you. Pulled up to his house to pick up my girlfriend, who's now my wife, and I was like, "Nice to meet you." And he's outside in his
Yeah.
underwear shoveling
he's
snow.
got 30 million
So
in the
I
stock
was
market.
like,
You have
what
no
the
idea.
hell?
Yeah, it's just
He could have hired somebody. Nah. he's
No,
going in and out of his
he doesn't.
underwear.
This is a man. I don't want to get too off topic with him, but like this is a man that literally, I forgot who. I think it was my brother-in-law who shattered his giant bay window in his house. Shattered it with a rock or something. Broke it. Don't worry about it. We'll get another one. Don't worry about it. But you go to a movie theater and he'll make you go to the dollar store and get candy. So it's not
I'm not paying $15.
And I'm like, you could buy the fucking movie theater.
Yeah,
It just cracks me up. So
I gotta respect it.
Yeah.
I respect it. He
Yeah.
knows where the money, where
100%.
money is important.
Well, exactly. He knows what's worth spending the money and what's not worth it. It's not worth $15 for a $1 bag of popcorn.
He's my inspiration with business because like he started with nothing. Like he worked his way up from nothing, So like he didn't get handed anything, neither did I. So it works out.
And you know what? He probably sees that in you, which is like, all right, this is the right man for my daughter.
Maybe. I would hope so. I mean, so.
Well, it's too late now.
Too late now.
Right?
Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Kind of all the way down the line, right? Kids, you have kids, I'm assuming?
I got one.
You got one, so
boy.
it's like, listen,
Yeah.
I'm in it for the long haul now.
That's it. Yep.
That's good.
You had your chance when they said, you speak now, forever hold your peace.
Yep.
And you didn't say shit, so
We're here.
we're here.
But
So you went to this Tony Peck event. Tony Peck, I'm sorry.
Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins. Tony
Yeah.
Peck was the event that we did last week.
Oh, cool.
So you went to Tony Robbins' event.
Yep. So I went to UPW, which is Unleash the Power Within, and that was in New Jersey, and that was at the New Jersey Devils Arena. They obviously like took the ice and all that stuff away, the boards, but there was probably anywhere from like 2,000 to 3,000 people there. And I was it's a 3-day, I think it's a 4-day event. I was there for the last day because we got like a last minute invite, but the last day of that event, they say is like the most important one because at the end of it, normally you're not done till like midnight. The end of it, literally everybody in that arena gets brought outside and you walk across hot coals with bare feet.
Nice.
Like no joke. Like
Really?
they jack you up so much and you just walk across it. I don't know how it works, but like no blisters, nothing on my feet. And I'm telling you, they wheeled it in with fucking wheelbarrows. And it is glowing hot. Dumped it down and they look at you. They go, you're not ready. And they'll put you to the back of the line. And then somebody else will come up and they go. And they just turn you around and you go. And you just walk across it. And like nothing happens.
And
to
you
your
walked
feet.
right across.
Right across it. And I was so jacked up. It was amazing.
What the?
How
Yeah.
long was it?
The walk?
Yeah.
It wasn't, maybe 10 feet.
Oh,
So
no, I'm
it's
not questioning the walk. I'm just saying.
it's
I want
not
to know how long
nothing.
it-
Yeah.
That's
so
that's
it
a
was,
long time.
on red hot coals.
Red hot coals. 2 feet a foot is even.
Yeah, 'cause
far.
they said that.
That's like that's crazy.
They said it like my father-in-law told us about it. I'm like, he's lying. But then I'm like, why would he? It's such a random lie. It doesn't
and they
make
say you're
sense.
not ready, so they can like
They literally,
see it.
so they have, I forgot what, I think they're called, they're like energists. So like they're at the front of every line. And there's like, I don't know, probably 20 or 30 lines going down the whole parking lot, wherever we were in the back. And guy stands there, you get up to the front of the line, he grabs you, and he'll know right away, like, nope, back of the line. Next person comes up, back of the line. Next person, okay, go. And they just push you, and you walk right across.
Really?
And I went first time. I was so jacked up because I was like revving to go. And he's like, go. And I was like, okay. I just like walked across. Don't run. Because if you run, you'll like kick it out from under you.
Yeah.
You could slip, so just walk. And you just walk across it like nothing.
Did anybody walk across and like get burned?
Nobody, because they don't like. I don't know how it works. It doesn't make sense to me. But like anybody who was not allowed to go, nobody got burned.
Was there anybody that just wasn't ready ever? And they're like,
I don't think so. I think
So
everybody
eventually
everybody eventually went across. And like if the coals started to like cool off, fresh freaking coals get rolled in in wheelbarrows. I swear, I'm not even kidding.
I gotta check a video of this. I bet you there's a video of it.
He doesn't let a lot of people video stuff because
Really?
he keeps it like there was a thing on Netflix. I'm Not Your Guru. That was his
He's
thing.
probably brainwashing people.
But that was for Date with Destiny, which is the week-long one I did in West Palm. That's where I got the motivation to be a life coach.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Man.
Wow.
Now I'm interested.
Yeah,
Now I want somebody.
I do it.
I want somebody to jack me up and walk across coals, man.
Jack, you what?
that's me.
Yeah.
I'll take care of it. Yeah.
I said jack me up.
Yeah. Oh,
Listen,
I don't want to do the other one.
Listen,
I don't wanna
Mr.
do the other
Hawk Tool over there. All right.
Hey, I'm in a funny mood. All right, I can't help it. I
Yeah.
think I'm getting a little delirious because it's a little warm in here.
Well, that's like so I'm sure you're familiar with ice baths and like
I
cold therapy.
I do it every day. Yep.
So I don't have an ice bath,
Mm-hmm.
but I have a cold shower. I put it as cold as it can go, and it's like 50 degrees,
Yeah.
which is fucking cold. Like people don't think it's cold. I mean, it's not ice bath like 34 degrees, but getting a 50-degree cold shower.
That's cold.
It's fucking cold. Okay,
That's
like
fucking
it
cold,
doesn't,
bro.
and it feels like little pins and needles
Dude,
on your
showers
body.
are so much different than cold plunges.
They are very different.
Oh.
Okay, but like I said, I'm not going to spend $10,000 on a thing right now. I was like, what can I do instead? Cold showers. So I get in every single morning. But when you get out of it, it's like you've when your body when your body starts to heat itself back up, you feel like a rush.
Dude, you feel amazing.
I'm like, and it was only 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, but and after you get, towards like the first minute, not even like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
That last like 30 seconds, I'm just like, I can literally be in here all
You
day.
can stay in there. Yep.
But then you get out, and you're like, I fucking feel fantastic.
Yeah.
Now a cold bath completely submerged is probably even more so than that.
Yeah. But like you said, like 10 grand for I'll tell you how I spent $200 on mine. I literally went to Tractor Supply and I bought like a cattle trough.
And you do it every single morning?
Every morning. And then I have refreezable ice packs from Amazon. I bought like a 30-pack. Stacked them in my garage freezer every morning. I just take them all out,
dump them in
with water, and dump them in. Leave it for like 5 minutes. That thing goes down to below 50, and I just slide right in there. And I spent $200 on. I'm like, these things are ridiculous. But they have filters and all this.
Yeah,
other stuff.
See, so I have to do that thing because I've seen the ones that are like the blow up ones, and I'm like,
they're garbage.
I'm like, listen, I'm a bigger guy, and I don't want to be like in this time. I want to like sit in it, and be able to go.
Yeah, I would think that's probably makes the most sense.
I got like I think the one I have is 120 gallons. So like
it's like the size of this table kind of?
I'm at 90 degrees sitting in there.
See, that's what I want.
Stretched out, and I'm 5'9", so I fit right in there. You're taller than me, so I
would love
be
to.
A little cramped in there. But
we'll talk offline. I want to get because I like I said, I've been doing the cold showers, and I mean, it's not that cold. It's not like 35 degrees where it's like kind of where it needs to be.
Yep.
But it's still fucking cold. Like, 50 degrees is still.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Jumping a 50-degree shower, it's cold, man. Yeah. It doesn't feel good. And you know what it is? It's also because people had asked about, all right, what's the benefit of doing it? And I said, listen, there's a lot of research on cold therapy. I said, first off, it's great for recovery. Mm-hmm. Okay, what do you do whenever you injure yourself? Fucking ice it, right? Yep. You sprain your ankle, ice it. Yep. Okay, you got a bummed elbow, a sore that you ice it. Okay, that's why they call it RICE, rest, ice, compression, elevation, right? Mm. I said, but it's great for circulation. It's great for your blood flow, your recovery, your immune system. It's great for all of these different things.
Detoxes the system and everything.
And I said, but one of the other things is it's doing something that is going to suck, but doing it anyway, like every single day.
Yep.
Okay, so maybe the 50 degrees is not like as cold as it should be to really. I mean, it's cold, but it's not as cold as like an ice bath.
Right.
But it still fucking sucks.
It sucks.
It still sucks getting in there every single morning. You're like, oh my god. Yeah. So it's like just doing that helps your mental health.
Yeah.
Because it's like that this just like working out helps your mental health because like I'm gonna suffer for the next 45 minutes and I'm gonna be dripping sweat, exhausted, but I'm doing it anyway. Right? I don't want to go under the squat rack and do heavy legs because they suck, but I'm doing it anyway. So it's like that aspect of it helps your mental health.
That's exactly part of it, 100%. And like I do it, literally I roll out of bed. I don't even have coffee. I go literally right outside. I fill the thing up. 10 minutes, I'm literally rubbing my eyes still, and I just slide right in there.
How's it in the winter?
Got to break it with a brick normally to get it thawed out because there's just no water outside. Everything's frozen.
That's crazy.
But yeah, I break it with like a brick or I have a hammer.
Do you like record? Do you like do videos on it?
I'm gonna start. I had to because like when it's that freaking cold, like I gotta literally jack myself up to even put my foot in it.
I was just gonna say, like, so what's the conversation you have with yourself before you go in? Because I'm
to be honest,
yes,
don't be a pussy. Just get in there and like don't think about like it's kind of like walking across coals. Like I get myself so jacked up where like I don't like slide in. I literally like jump in that thing and just go right under the water. Because if I try to like step into it, I'll talk myself out of it.
Yeah, I do a similar concept when I haven't been to the gym at 5:30 a.m. since March, but I did it religiously until my wife got pregnant and she never slept. So it means I didn't sleep. I'm sure you know the feeling.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
But when I would wake up, my alarm go off at 5:30. And my head would be like, "You're a bitch. You're a bitch. You're a fucking bitch. You're a bitch." And I was like, "All right, let's just get up. Let's just get up.
Just do it."
And I'd be like, "All right, I'm not a fucking bitch." And I just get the fuck up.
And how do you feel when you're done?
Oh yeah,
you feel great.
Oh my god, get back at 6:30. Go outside, fucking water the plants. Everyone's still waking up. I'm already jacked up, ready to go. Cup of coffee ready. It's the best.
And you know what I find that is, so I have the timer on my phone, and like I'll put the timer right there, and I just hit it.
Yep.
So it's like once I hit it,
you gotta commit.
Like I'm committed.
Yep.
So like that helps. I just see it, and I just hit it and go right in.
Yeah.
And it's like you don't think about it because now I started it. It's like, well, fuck. Now, I gotta go in. Now it's counting down. I gotta go in.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, no, I do it every morning, and if I sometimes skip a morning. It happens, getting the baby ready or whatever. But most of the time, it's religiously every morning. My wife thinks I'm out of my mind. She thinks I'm crazy. But
so many people think it's nuts
because it's just
not
like
normal.
It's
not a normal thing to do.
Yeah. I know.
I mean, cold showers, like, dude, put the warm water on. Enjoy your shower. Meanwhile, you're like in there and you're like, I got this.
And I'm in there.
I'm not a pussy. I'm not a pussy.
I'm like this. I'm like get it down here.
You're like,
and that's the worst though, because like you start on the front and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I gotta do my back, and you're like, oh, oh, and you got to do it all over
yeah,
again.
yeah,
Sucks.
forget
I get the
Yeah.
armpits. I'm like,
You're out
and
of
you know
your
what?
mind.
You know what I found too is that when you're you get the water right, and then you're just kind of like rubbing like the water all over your body.
Yeah.
It kind of warms you up a little bit.
Yeah, it gets hot. It almost
So-
feels hot. Yeah.
Trying to just let it like, for instance, when you stick your head on the water and you get all your hair wet and all the water just starts trickling down your body,
I
when
wouldn't
you
know
just
anything
like
about
wipe
that.
your head, it warms you up quickly and you don't notice it. So
Yeah.
just letting it stand under there and just letting all the little droplets, you're just
Yeah.
like, oh fuck.
Yeah,
ah,
And like you said, though, it's like the
oh,
first
fuck.
30 seconds. It's brutal, and then it kind of gets better.
when you're like just finished a workout or your body's really hot, and you go in a shower and you take a cold shower, and the coldness of the water doesn't even affect you because your body's so hot. That's like one of my favorite feelings because it's like,
Yeah.
fuck,
It's like jumping in a
yeah.
pool.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's kind of
yeah.
like, so that's like, because I do the treadmill. I do the treadmill first for 15 minutes, and then I jump right in the cold shower. So it's kind of like my body's here, then my body heats up, then my body goes really cold, and then my body warms itself back up again. So I'm hitting like so that first 10, 15 seconds, it kind of feels good, but then your sweat kind of gets washed away, and then it feels cold, and you're like, oh, fuck. So, like, you get in there, and it's like, it's cold, but they're like, oh, it's not so bad, and then it gets even colder, you're like, oh, this sucks. And then it stays here for a while.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we got really off track, but it gave you a chance to smoke your cigar.
And I'm really enjoying this thing. So
Tony Robbins.
the
Tony Robbins, we did that, so now you come back from that.
Yeah, so that was the Coles one. So now the big one, the Date with Destiny, when I went to West Palm Beach, Florida, that was a week. That was a full 5 days. And that, if like, I always tell people, if you can afford to go, like, go before you, it's one of those things, like a bucket list thing. Before you die, go to that.
Yeah.
Because it's life changing. If you fully commit and you submit to everything that goes on there, it will change your life. And I say it all the time, and I mean it. My wife never would have married me if I didn't go to that, because of how I was before that. Yeah. So the way that one works is every night there's a theme to every single night. So, for example, there's relationship night, there's suicide night, and then I forgot what the other ones are. A lot of them there's like a business one, and like I was working in groups with celebrities. I hung out with Shaun White. I hung out with I can never remember his name. Dancing with the Stars, the blonde-headed guy. I can never remember his name.
I'll find it for you. So we
Was
don't.
he on? He was on.
No,
Dancing
he
with
was
the
he was
Stars?
a
Or like a
judge.
host-
He was
or a
judge.
judge.
Yeah, I can never remember his
Dancing
name.
with the Stars.
Yeah.
Judge?
He was judge. Yeah, I think he still is actually. If you
Len Goodman?
nope,
And Shaun White's the snowboarder.
He's-
snowboarder. Yep.
Bruno Tonioli?
No, maybe it's.
I'll
not
find it.
Dancing
There's
with the
12 more.
Stars. I thought it was. All right, either way.
He's
But
blonde hair?
blonde hair. Yeah, I can never remember his name.
Nick Carter?
Nope. No. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a Backstreet Boy.
Yeah. But
What do you say?
but like I'm hanging out in
Ricky Martin?
No, I don't know who it was. I really can't remember. But he was there. I did a group with him. But like Tony Robbins tells you before the event starts, like there's celebrities in the room.
that guy?
If you end up with them, where'd it go? That's it in the middle. That's him in the
This
middle.
guy?
Yep.
All right.
That's him in the middle.
I'll find out who this fucking guy is.
So he'll tell you, like, do not ask for autographs. Don't ask about
Derek
like,
Huff?
That's him. That's
Let me see.
Derek Huff. That's him.
Derek Huff.
Yep.
He's a good looking dude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see him.
He looks like a Dancing with Stars. He looks like
100%.
he looks like he'd be a judge for that.
Yeah, so like I'm in groups with all these people, and I'm like, and they're just people. Like at that point, I hung out with
Yeah, they're all there for the same reason.
one of the
they're all
it was
trying
a-
to get
exactly. So like you take the celebrity aspect out of it, and they're just people, and they're
It's
talking
pretty
to you.
interesting that you're with celebrities. Like celebrities are actually doing it,
Dude,
You know,
they-
with mixed in with regular
Exactly,
quote people.
and that's and they all act as if they're just one of us. Like they're not.
That's pretty cool.
They don't make you feel less than or small. They don't. Nope. They're
Well, I
just.
find
they're there.
there's like most of those, quote unquote, call them celebrities. They are just regular people. They just happen to do a job that makes them famous.
They're top
right?
of the. They're
like
top of the food chain.
instead of versus where, like, you have one guy who's in sales and he's a salesman. That's his job.
Mhm.
All right, you're not going to be famous from that. But then you have one guy. His job is acting. That's what he does. And it just so
Exactly.
happens that his job puts his face all over the billboard, so he becomes famous.
Exactly.
But he's just like everybody else.
Yeah.
He just happens to have a different job that
That's
makes him
it.
famous.
That's it. Yeah. So on, it was really like the eye-opening night for me was the suicide night, because people literally like stand up and they're like dark, like they're ready to like check out. And
I saw there was one that Tony Robbins did with the red shoes guy.
Yep, that's on I'm Not Your Guru. That's on Netflix. That's part of that whole thing. And like, but that's what he literally comes on stage like, all right, who's ready to off themselves? Like straight up, he's like, who's ready to off themselves? And we're like, what the fuck? And people
he went to that guy. He's like, "Is it the shoes? Because they're really fucking red."
Exactly.
You ever seen that video?
And then he smiles.
Yeah, he made some guy.
Yep.
You find the video. Some guy is at one of these things, and he was suicidal. And the kid stands up, and Tony starts talking, and it's actually it gets you. It's very moving 100%. Because you can see that Tony. It's like nobody else is in the room.
Exactly. It's
like he never loses eye contact with this gentleman. And it's like everybody else disappears, and he's just talking right to this guy. And he's asking him, like, what do you, why do you feel like that? And he's doing this, that, and he goes, is it the fucking shoes? He goes, because they're red. Like, they're fucking red. Yep. And he cracks jokes, and the guy starts smiling, and he says, don't smile.
That's it.
He's like, stop smiling. You're going to fuck it all up. You wanted to kill yourself. Stop smiling. Yep. And he's like going back and forth with this kid, and then obviously makes the kid realize that life is way more precious than... But it's like everybody disappears.
That's pretty fucking wild.
And and I remember seeing that joke. He's like, "Is it the shoes? Because they're fucking red, man."
It.
I gotta watch that.
You gotta. Yeah. I'm telling you, it's still on there. It's I'm Not Your Guru.
And what is that about?
It's him prepping for Date with Destiny, and and they show little that clip. They'll show like little snippets of what goes on in there, but they don't give you everything because then obviously people wouldn't pay.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? You kind of get the gist. But that night, and let me backtrack just 2 seconds. So the first day that you're there, everybody that steps into that place, my father-in-law told me the same thing. He's like, you're going to want to leave. It's very, people are hugging each other and dancing, and it's almost like cult-like, you know? And I'm like, I'm in the front row, second to front row with people, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? It was so weird. And then I'm like, no, remember why you're here. This is an opportunity that nobody gets. Just go all in. Just get out of your head and just enjoy it. And I stepped right into that, and I got weird. You just kind of get into it. And then after the suicide night was the real eye opener for me. And I was like, this is legit. What he does is so real. And then on relationship night, same thing. Whose relationship's going down the tubes? People stand up. Couples stand up. One couple stands up. They have a yellow manila envelope with divorce papers in it. And they're literally like, if we don't fix our marriage before we leave here, we're signing these. And it's over. 2.5 hours he spent with this couple. And I shit you not, I was sitting right here. My girlfriend at the time was right here. And I looked at her, tears in my eyes, and I go, I am so sorry. Because I saw myself in that guy.
Jeez.
I swear to you, I was like, and we both had a moment. And I was like, I need to change, right now. Because that's me. We're going to be there. If we move forward, we're going to be where they are. And we're not going to have Tony Robbins to help us. We're going to be on our own,
That's wild.
Yeah. So I had that moment, and then later on in that night, I just remember watching it. And then as the week progressed, I looked at her again, and I'm like, I'm going to do that. That's what God put me on this earth to do, is to help people. I do it with fitness. Now it's time to go the next level and start.
You're already doing the personal training.
Yeah. I didn't have my own business yet. I was doing it in other gyms, but then it was let me step in and start doing my own thing. And then I was like, I want to do what he does. I want to get to that level where it's I can do that. You have a problem, I got you. I'll take care of you. And suicide was in my family. My uncle took his own life years back, and suicide to me is just it's like a punch in the throat, And some people just need somebody to be there and listen. And today, less and less people are there to listen, I feel like. So I want to be that. I want it to be that person.
Yeah, and you think you just we were talking about that. We had a gentleman by the name of Chris Marmondo on the show, and we were talking. He was going through. He had some struggles in his life, and we were talking about how God works in mysterious ways. How it only takes one person, and you don't even, and you may not even realize that it's God that's doing this, but you could see somebody walking on the street, and you just say "Hey, that's a nice pair of shoes. I like those shoes, man. Where'd you get those shoes?" And they go, I don't know. I got them.
Meanwhile, that person may have been ready.
Yeah, that person might be on their way home
100%.
To commit suicide. And just by you saying hello and talking to them for 5 minutes, they're like, you know what, maybe it's not so bad. And you don't even realize what you're doing.
Exactly.
You don't know that they went home. You just said something. And we were talking about how that's God working through you to be that person at that time.
You're into your faith?
Yes. Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, me too.
So all of us are.
We're all too?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we were talking about that, and that's what you were saying, where it only takes one person, and you don't realize, and you may never realize the power that you can instill into other people just by a simple conversation, a simple hello, a simple compliment, a simple smile, just something very simple. Have a nice day. That's it.
Yeah. Hold the door open.
That's it.
That's it.
Yep,
just
100%.
Showing that you recognize this person. go into an elevator, you don't just stand there and look down.
Yep. How's your day going?
Just say hi.
Yep.
That simple act of kindness.
Somebody gives a shit. That's what I'd say it all the time. Just be someone that gives a shit, because a lot of people don't, And that really was like what I took from that whole event, was like just being around everybody. Like the energy in the room is just peaked all day long. You don't like it is
On like a high.
Oh my God,
yeah.
it's insane. But like when you come home, they tell you like you're gonna have the Tony high. It lasts about 3 months, where it's like you start businesses, you do this, you do like you're on just like a rush, and then it does start to peter off.
He does. I remember, not to cut you off.
Yeah.
I've seen a video where he says something like that to that nature. He's saying it's like motivation is like a hot bath or a hot shower. In the moment, it feels good. It feels
100%.
great. Then once you get out, you're like, all right,
now
all
what?
right, now
Yeah.
I got to do what I got to do now. Like,
Exactly.
and it was not to that extent. He did a lot better than I
Yeah,
said.
no,
But it
yeah.
was something
That's
to that
the idea.
nature.
It's like they always say that motivation gets you going, but discipline keeps you going.
Yeah.
100%.
Right? And that's that thing. It's like you get that high. You're like, oh, I'm so motivated.
yeah.
And it's
Now.
easy to do shit when you're motivated, when you're jacked up,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
Like somebody comes in, you got, let's say you got Arnold Schwarzenegger comes in and wants to do a workout with you and gets you all fired up, or Ronnie Coleman, woo, nothing but a peanut, like gets you all fired. Yeah, it's easy to go through a workout like that. But what about 3 months from now when you're by yourself?
Yeah.
It's 10 degrees out and you're in your frozen tundra of a gym and you got to do legs.
Yep.
And nobody's there and it's 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
What keeps you going then?
Yep.
100%.
That's what they tell you. Like they tell you when you come home from these things, like they warn you, like you're going to be on that high and you're going to want to do all of these things. And it's like when that wears off, you have to revert back to what you learned while you were there. That what motivated you when you were there. And it's the room, it's the atmosphere, of course, but it's what he's teaching you that you can use on a daily basis that will keep you going. It'll keep you motivated. And that's exactly what I did, and so many people do when they leave. I'm hoping I'll do it again at some point. I would love to do it again, but it was just that was like the true inspiration for what got me started in life coaching. Was just like college wasn't my thing, so to go back and try to become like a psychologist or whatever. And then I don't want to get too crazy into this, but like I also don't follow psychologists because what life coaches do is we don't diagnose you. Like if you said, I'm really, really sad, we don't say you have chronic depression. Here's an antidepressant.
Yep.
We don't diagnose. We'll say, oh, you're depressed? Okay, what makes you depressed? And it's like, then they go into what it is, and it's like, okay, now we're going to face that.
It's more of a holistic approach.
100%.
You're treating the person.
Yeah.
You're treating the whole person, not just the symptoms.
Yeah, and this is where like me and my sister, like we butt heads on this because she's a social worker. So like she works side by side with psychiatrists, psychologists who she has patients come to her that are on heavy doses of Klonopin and all these other drugs. And I always tell her, like, I love what you do because you are helping. I just don't follow the same rule,
right?
But the way I look at it is drugs are a Band-Aid. They cover the problem, but they don't fix it.
Please preach.
Yeah, they don't fix the problem. So what are you going to do to fix that problem? Are you going to continue to be on drugs for the rest of your life so that problem just keeps getting pushed away? Or what I do is we bring it to the forefront and it gets really, really ugly. There's a lot of tears. There's a lot of anger sometimes. And it's just like, that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
And then you face it and then you look behind you and now it's behind you. Now you got a bright road in front of you. But drugs, it's just like, that's what they all try to push. It's just like, and then what cracks me up is like on a commercial for an antidepressant. What's the first thing they tell you? If you're going to have suicide, you could have suicidal thoughts. It's like, then why the fuck am I taking it then? What am I taking it
all the
for?
side effects are worse than the actual.
Exactly.
It's because a perfect example is, and I 100% agree. No, okay. I don't want to say 100%.
Yeah.
But I agree everything. Now, there obviously is certain things that you need drugs for.
Agree.
Okay, right? Like
having a good time.
Yeah. Right. I'm not going to say, okay, when you go into the doctor and be like, something's wrong, like I feel, and then like you have a tumor in your brain, like that's causing.
Right.
Okay.
Different story. Yeah.
Okay. If you come in just like, I'm 100 pounds overweight, I have no social life, and I'm depressed, give me drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, wait a second. All right. Maybe you should eat healthier, drink lots of water, get some sunshine, go out and meet with people, exercise, then we'll see if you're still depressed.
Exactly.
Okay, like so there's that.
It's
right?
a fine line.
What you're talking about is there's the when people have, usually in these cases that are the depression, the anxiety, or one of the biggest things that I see now is with kids. Every fucking kid has got ADHD now.
That's all they do.
And I'm like, I go, hold on a second. Why don't we take a step back here, okay? Before we start prescribing an 8-year-old medication, why don't we take a step back? First off, they're 8, okay? So their energy levels are through the fucking roof. Just to start, baseline is already up here.
Yeah.
Now let's look at what you're feeding this kid.
Yeah.
Okay, what does the kid have for breakfast? Oh, they have Eggo waffles with maple syrup and whipped cream. And then for lunch, they have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, but we're using the Skippy peanut butter. Okay, well, now all of a sudden the baseline's here, and now you're jacking them up with sugar, and then they crash.
And then they can't focus in school.
No shit, they're bouncing off the walls, and you think they have ADHD. Okay, no reason no wonder they can't focus, right?
So true.
Why don't we change these things? And there was actually a woman that I saw on Instagram. I saw a reel, and she had talked about that. She said, my son, she's like, from the moment he was born, we don't eat crap. Okay, we eat clean, whole food. She goes, for breakfast, it's eggs, it's fruits, it's some kind of meat. That's what he has. For lunch, it'll be some kind of meat with some fruits. For dinner, there's some vegetables. There's no sugar crap, right? You get the good sugars from the fruits, and there's no processed shit. He goes, he went to a birthday party, and he had the cake and the lollipops and all the shit. And she goes, I had a different son. She goes, my son was bouncing off the fucking walls. He was nuts. He was crazy. And I'm like, and this is exactly why. She goes, as soon as we came back home the next week, back to the regular diet. She goes, my son is cool. He controls his emotions. He's totally even keeled. I'm like, this is what they're doing nowadays. You have all these crap, and they said, oh, you know what? Give them drugs. You know why? Because it's profitable.
I look at it from like our generation. You know, we're in our early 30s, late 20s. You know, we were kind of like the guinea pigs, essentially, of how we grew up, right? Because we didn't grow up without phones. We didn't grow up without iPads and computers.
We were a very
we were the last
generation.
We were the last generation, you know. But we did grow up with Pop-Tarts and Quaker Oats and Frosted Flakes and Dunkaroos, all this shit that we used to eat all the time. Now we're starting to see cell phones for kids. Terrible. The shit that we used to eat for you. No wonder why. You know, I found out that I had two polyps in my colon.
Okay.
And I had to get them removed. And thankfully they weren't cancerous or anything. But I was asking the doctor. I was like, you know, what can that have been? He's like, we're starting to see more and more younger people like yourself develop these polyps in their colon. Usually when it's later in life, 50s, 60s, 70s. Yep. And I said, do you think it'd be due to diet? I'm like, that's my only. And he's like, listen, I can't tell you what it is, but you know, that's a good. You know, it's a good. What's the word? What's the word for like an educated guess?
Hypothesis.
Is that a hypothesis?
Yeah, educated guess.
Yeah, it's a good educated guess. But I truly think, because I mean, all I see now on social media is like all the different ingredients, all these people now in grocery stores saying, hey, don't eat, you know, don't drink Gatorade, drink, you know, this. And it's why? Because it's red 40 and it causes this, and hydroxamine and it causes this. And I'm like, we're in the generation now where we see the effects of how things can be with the shit that we grew up with.
100%.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. That's why it's like the biggest thing that I follow this guy, and you might even know who he is. I think I'm gonna.
And one other fun fact.
Yeah, I'm gonna find his name because you probably know who he is.
You know how many countries promote drugs and prescription drugs on TV?
Oh yeah,
2.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
It's only 2 countries.
It's like us in New Zealand, I think, right?
Really?
I already said I was asking Rob. See if he
I thought you were asking the question.
I talk about you all the time.
Yeah.
No, but it's United States and New Zealand are the only countries that promote prescription drugs. And
Is that fucking wild?
It's crazy.
And
2 countries on the whole planet.
And there's some other loophole. I forgot what it is about. They say they don't call it they don't say drugs, or they don't say take it. They say ask your doctor about.
That's how they start. That's exactly how they start it. Yep.
And they tell the doctors, and the doctors get a nice little commission for pushing all those. It's fucking. And I always say doctors are the best salespeople.
100%. It's like going back to what you just said about your colon with the polyps. Like I just got hit with high cholesterol.
Yeah.
Now, I look at what I do, and it's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, everything I do is based on my body.
Yeah.
Like, I take care of it, you know? And, my doctor's like, you're a product of your genetics. And I get it. Like, my grandfather had it. My dad has it. he's got it under control, but like they all took medicine, and I'm like,
But what kind of cholesterol? Because I've always read that there's like
LDL is mine.
I was gonna say
That's
there's
the bad one.
It's the bad one.
Yeah.
I
That was another thing they talk about too. Is like, oh, don't eat eggs. They're high in cholesterol. They're gonna give. I'm like, literally, eggs
100%
are probably the best thing you can eat.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
and they're like, don't eat red meat. Okay,
Dude, I watched a documentary once years ago.
Game changer.
I don't know what I forgot what it was.
Yeah.
I live in Connecticut. I live in Hamden. And I forgot what documentary it was about, but they were talking about how eggs, if you eat too many eggs, it's like comparing it to smoking a pack of cigarettes.
That's game changer.
Is that what it's called?
Yep,
it was all like
yep.
it was all about being green
Yes,
and shit.
Yes,
so
game changer.
And for a second,
they were like pushing vegan, basically.
that's what it
game
was.
changer.
I couldn't even tell you what it was.
I watch all of them.
Man, that's
'cause it's
bullshit.
just,
And I remember
that's
thinking, I'm like,
bullshit.
for a second, I'm like, oh shit, I can't eat eggs. That's bad. And then I started, and I watched it again. I'm like, no, this is a complete different agenda. What they're talking about.
like I eat eggs every single day.
Me too.
Yeah.
Every single day I eat eggs.
My wife's pregnant. I make her eggs, 2 eggs every single morning.
Yep.
Every single morning.
Yep.
I mean, when you think about it logically, like an egg has literally everything that it needs to grow life. Okay, everything. It's got all the nutrients in there. So you're telling me that's bad for you?
Yep.
Okay, like if that thing can grow life, it's got all the proteins, everything you need, like all the nutrients. It's got everything.
How can it grow a life?
Like,
Yeah.
if I eat it, it should be pretty good for me. You know what I'm saying? So there's this guy. His name is Dr. James D. Nicolantonio. Dr. James. He's got 2.8 million followers on Instagram. But anyway, he's just like this. It says Dr. Pharmacy, cardiovascular research scientist, evidence-based nutrition. But he talks about all of these things where, like, for instance, here's like he has one. If you're stressed, run. If you're moody, take a nap. If you're angry, lift weights. If you're sad, get sunlight. If you're anxious, go for a walk. Right? Your mental health can be improved by physical things. So he's all about this stuff. He talks about like how to become unrecognizable. 3 eggs a day, 3 liters of water, 2 teaspoons of salt, 45 minutes of walking, 4 weightlifting sessions, 30 to 50 grams of protein per
pretty much easy stuff
like
to do.
Basic stuff, right? One of the things he says is all the things that I'm gonna air quote they tell you not to eat, you should probably eat.
You should eat.
So they tell you red meat's bad for you.
Yep.
Eat red meat. They tell you that don't eat too many eggs. Eat a lot of fucking eggs.
Yeah.
They tell you avoid salt. No, salt's actually pretty good for you. You should avoid sugar.
I love salt.
Okay, actually, they say that one of the best ways to like hydrate yourself is salt water.
Yeah.
It's like you take water, like a teaspoon of a little bit of salt in it. They said you need salt in your body. Salt is what draws water into your muscles.
You know what I love salt with? Asparagus, olive oil.
There you go.
Little salt bay.
Yeah.
That's it.
But that's what they say. Like
salt, so good.
So the things that they tell you to avoid.
Like I even tried carnivore. I did carnivore for
Carnivore's great.
2 months, almost 3 months. The first couple of weeks was rough because your body's got to get used to it. It was rough on the stomach, but I felt there's no sugar. I mean, I felt amazing, and like diabetes runs in my family, so I got to be careful, you know. But I did carnivore for I think it was like 2 months. I did it straight through, and I mean, I felt best I've ever felt. And it's just like it gets expensive to do carnivore.
Yeah,
but like,
that's what I can imagine.
For me, my freezer's full of venison all the time, so I had all the meat in the world.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, it's like I want a steak.
Yeah.
You know, I want this, I want that, and it gets expensive.
Yeah.
You know?
I did
So
for like a month and a half. I forgot what I saw, but I did no bread and cheese for like a month or two.
Yeah.
I'm Italian, obviously,
Yeah.
so bread and cheese is like, 3 key
staple.
nutrients.
Yeah.
So, but my wife was like, "What the fuck are you doing? No bread and cheese." I was like, "I don't know, I want to see if I can do it," and I did it, and I did feel a lot better and a lot. And you didn't have like that cloudiness. I want to say, and I wouldn't say it's due to the cheese and the bread, but
you're taking the sugar out.
yeah, it's
just eating healthier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild.
I
so
talk
crazy.
about it all the time. I say eat God's food.
Yep.
I'm like, you just eat whole food.
Yeah.
Right? Eat red meats.
Mhm.
Okay? Eat the eggs. Eat vegetables. Eat fruits. Right? Eat all the stuff that God put on this planet. God didn't put a candy bar on this fucking planet.
It's built in
okay?
the lab. Don't put it in your mouth.
Don't put that. And then the less ingredients on the label, the better it is for it. Like, one of the things that my wife and I do is peanut butter. We make it.
You make it.
I go and I get a jar of peanuts, unroasted, unsalted, just frickin' peanuts.
Yep.
And I put it in a blender, and you blend it until it's butter.
Wow.
That's it.
It's really cool.
And then if you want to sweeten it up a little bit, you put natural honey in it.
Yeah.
Like, because honey it comes from the bees.
Yep.
You literally get unfiltered natural honey. And I'm like, and it's delicious.
Or you go to Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's has pretty clean peanut butter. It's
But the
peanuts,
thing is, salt
and I think oil.
But that's the thing is, it's like just eat the natural stuff,
Yeah.
and you'll be and and watch all of like you have knee pains, you have back pains, you have cloudy, you have anxiety. Watch all that shit.
It's one reason why I love my wife, because my wife grew up.
One of the many reasons.
One of the what did I say?
No, you said one reason. One of the reasons. Like one of the many
reasons.
Many reasons
Is that she came home to a fresh cooked meal every single day, right? I grew up. I had all the stuff. I had all the cereals, the pop. I still love Pop-Tarts. All the stuff that we all grew up on.
Yep.
My wife's like, I hate all that stuff, and I was just like, all right. And I have like a thing of Oreos in my closet. And I'm like, oh, fucking Oreos! Thank God, I love this shit. But I don't. We have all usually clean, healthy foods, and it's a lot better. Like, I don't like to drink soda, but every once in a while, I like to have a nice little Coke with steak or Chinese food. Definitely pizza.
Yeah.
But I'm glad, because if I stayed, I don't know whoever I would else married, but I would have maybe stayed on that same path if I still lived on Long Island.
See, but that's a key point though. It's like once in a while, and I feel like if some people use that term or interpret that term very loosely, and I go, listen, once in a while in means okay. If I want to have a cheat meal once a week on Saturday night because we're going out to dinner.
Yeah.
And like if I'm going out to dinner, my cheat meal, okay, like the other day we went and watched the hockey game. Game 7, which was a fantastic game. Yeah. Oilers didn't win.
Yep.
But it was still a fantastic game.
Yeah.
I picked out. I just had no car. I didn't have any like the French fries. I just had wings. It's like I just want a fuckload of wings.
Oh,
okay.
God, fucking
right?
love chicken wings.
Now granted, they're not obviously not good for you. It's protein. It's all but it's not that good for you, right? Yeah. But once in a while, okay, maybe once a week. Some people say, "Oh, I did good this morning. I had eggs and avocado. I think I did good. I deserve candy.
I earned it. Yeah,
I'm like, you didn't earn shit.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
Why don't you try doing that for 6 days in a row?
Yep.
Then have your one meal.
Yep.
And even then, like on Saturday night, if we want to go out, I'm still like, I'm not pigging out. I'm still getting a fucking huge ass steak.
Yep.
But I might load it up with some extra, and even the butter is not so bad. Like if you go carnivore, you put the butter on it. Yep. But maybe I'm gonna get a little baked potato action, which even it's not that bad.
I'm fucking starved.
But I'm putting like where you say like my cheat is like, okay, I'm gonna have the big ass fucking steak. I'm gonna have some broccoli. I'm gonna have the asparagus. I'm gonna have baked potato,
mac and cheese.
But maybe now I'm putting like a shit ton of sour cream and cheese on a potato, right? Yeah. And then maybe for dessert, I'm gonna have a little ice cream.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm still having it's still not terrible. It's a fucking big ass steak, right?
That's still better than going to McDonald's.
That's what I'm saying, but it's like in moderation, right?
What I tell clients and people that ask me, all the time you get messages and stuff on the social medias and everything that I have, and people ask me, and I just did an episode about it, and it was like, someone reached out and asked me, what is a good alternative to sweets? And what I tell them to do is try not eating anything with sugar in it for 7 days. First 2 days, you're going to have a horrible headache and everything else that comes with it. You're going to crave it. You're going to want it. By the 7th day, you're going to realize I can do without it.
Yep.
And what happens is that's why like the keto diet. It's one of those fad diets. I highly, highly don't recommend doing it because when you cut out an entire macro, so that's taking out carbs. When you take out an entire macro, you're eventually going to you can't be on keto for the rest of your life. It just doesn't work. So when you eventually start introducing carbs back into your body, the way that I describe it is your body becomes an addict. Because you give it a little taste. Think about a drug addict.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Yep. Drug addicts clean for a month, 2 months, whatever. They're clean. They go to a party. Someone, they may have been into Coke. There's Coke on the table. They get a little taste of that. Oh, I miss that feeling. And all of a sudden, they're right back on the horse.
Yep.
Same thing when you cut out a macro. When you take away carbs, you give your body a little taste. Your body's like, give me that. And you'll start to crave everything. And what happens? You lost 35, 40 pounds on the diet.
And you're
going to gain that
Yep.
and some because your body now holds on to all the water that comes with holding on to all that sugar that you took in. So,
and you also people don't realize that you don't need the sugar. Like they go, oh, well, what am I going to do? Like you said, try it.
Yep.
Wait for a week, and then you're like, I don't fucking need this stuff. Like I just don't eat sugar. I just try not to eat sugar.
I'm a hypocrite. The only thing, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
So like occasionally, okay, you go out. Like I said, you go out. I'm gonna have some ice cream. I'm gonna have some sugar. I don't completely cut out sugar. Okay, there's occasions in moderation we'll have some sugar.
Yeah.
But throughout my regular day, I don't eat it. The only thing that I have is to get my like sweetness, which isn't even that much sugar, is dark chocolate.
Yep. Yep.
It's like I'm not
80%.
talking milk chocolate. I'm talking like 80% dark chocolate,
Yeah.
straight up 80% dark chocolate. And it says like, all right, there's 3 squares and I have 1 square.
Mm-hmm.
That's like my little, but it's not. It's like half a gram of sugar.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm a little bit different bone. I got a little sweet tooth. I see a box of donuts, I'm like,
I haven't.
Donut.
I'm not gonna be a hypocrite. Like I'm a sweets guy.
Yeah.
Like it. And,
Don't get me wrong. I fucking love it.
Yeah.
It tastes delicious.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm just choosing like not to. People said, "How do you do?" I'm like, just don't
You're
order
like,
it.
You're like,
It's
what's his name? What's his name in Dodgeball? Goodman, right?
Oh yeah.
Hank-
Cook the
yeah,
things
it's like,
on-
you don't need it. You don't need it. You don't need
Come on.
it.
He's like, he's got the things on his nipples.
That's
Come
it.
on, man.
You want that
Just take a
donut,
little
fat
bite.
boy? Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it.
I'm white. WHIT.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. Fucking Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, listen, I love it. They're fucking delicious. Big, big old, give me a big old apple pie and a freaking scoop of ice cream, man. A little melt. Dude, it's fucking delicious.
Can we get off topic for
I was gonna say he's dying.
I know.
He's dying.
We're talking about steak, apple pies. I'm fucking
All right,
dying out here.
so let's talk about this.
Okay.
So you did the Tony Robbins, and you said, now this is what I want to get into.
That's
so
it.
now you start.
Yep.
I'm guessing you started your company.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how long has it been since you started that? What's how'd you start getting clients? What
Sure.
was the
Yeah.
first
Let me
couple of?
add one thing on top of that. I see a lot of life coaches, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm always like, what qualifies this person to be a life coach?
Yep.
So how do you, on top of whatever
Sure.
Justin just asked, I'd like to know, like, how do you build credibility as a life coach? How do you tell people, hey, I can help you get through life?
Yeah. So where do you want me to start? You want me to start with that question? You want me to start
There was
with...
a lot of questions just thrown at you.
All right, so
Yeah.
I'll answer that one.
Yes.
So basically, what qualifies a life coach, in my opinion, is I always just use the mantra of just give me a chance. Like, just if you like it depends. And again, I don't take on everybody because I don't feel comfortable taking on certain people. You know, so if we're not a good fit, I'm not going to work with you. I'll steer you in the right direction, but I'm not going to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
So, but what qualifies me and other coaches is experience is one, is actually having some sort of clientele base that you can say, hey, listen, like I have X amount of clients that I work with. I specialize in what your issue is, that kind of thing. And then also who coached you is another one. So for me, I won't name names, but he probably wouldn't mind if I did. I'll name him. His name is Michael Nitti. So he is or was Tony Robbins' #1 coach. So the way that I describe him to people is, let's just say you and your wife, perfect example, that relationship night in Tony Robbins. Tony works with you guys kind of get back on track a little bit, whatever. Then Tony then sends you to Mike. So now I've been working with him. So he was Tony Robbins' #1 guy. He still coaches like athletes. I can't name any names, but he coaches athletes, hedge fund guys, actors, actresses, like people that you guys would know very, very well. He coaches them. So he's working with me. I work with him. He coaches me. He's groomed me into being the coach that I am. So when I tell people that, it's like, I'm like, if you don't trust me, just go look up who this guy is. And like, I'm one of his mutual friends on Facebook. So it's like, he has a private account. So like, you can't just add him. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I'm a mutual friend with him. I talk to him literally every week. We do things together. He helps me with sessions that I have with people. If I have questions about it, I work with him. But I always say, like, give me a chance and I'll show you, because there really is no qualifying. Mm-hmm. You don't go to college for it. I went the extra step and I got a certification in. I took a college class where it was like psychology a little bit, but it was just getting deep into people's minds and dealing with their issues. But
because I imagine you'd have to understand a little bit of the different types of people, like how they think, right?
Yeah.
Like there's, remember, I forgot what it is, but there's the temperaments.
Yep.
Right? There's like choleric, melancholy,
Yep. There's a thing called the disc.
Sanguine. And
there's a thing called the disc that I use, and it's like you take I pass it off to the client,
Yeah.
and I'll have them fill out these questionnaires, and it
like,
spits out what they are.
Certain people,
Yeah.
Just like being an introvert versus an extrovert.
Exactly.
Like it's just how people naturally
Are wired.
right? Some people
Yeah.
might just naturally be optimistic versus pessimistic, or whatever the case may be.
Exactly.
And, or they, like, I remember one of the things, I remember taking that, and they were saying, in certain different, there's like a couple different categories of, all right, social settings. Mm-hmm. Would you do this? Would you do this? Would you do this? And it's like, all right, well, you're like, you seek out people.
You're literally naming the disc. That's exactly what I
so
said
that's
to people.
exactly
Disc,
okay.
the disc profile.
Disc
That's it.
profile.
Yep, exactly.
I've done those.
So that's
before.
probably why you took the psychology, so you can understand certain people. Because I imagine, just like I relate it to athletics, right? And if you're coaching an athlete, certain athletes respond to certain types of coaching.
Absolutely.
One athlete might respond to and I don't want to call it like negative criticism, but they respond to a little bit of that, like
it's like a dad mentality,
like that heated, come on, stop being a fucking bitch, all right?
Like you're in the military.
Come on, let's fucking go, right? Let's do. But other people, you can't do that because it might just push them down deeper.
Exactly.
You need to kind of like, hey, listen, man, come on.
And that's a perfect example because that's actually a right on the money example of how I deal with like the first time I meet you, I can pretty much figure out how I have to handle you, what kind of gloves I have to wear. Basically,
Right.
Like, am I handling you with kid gloves where I got to talk soft and I got to be, or is it my normal persona where it's where it's high energy, cursing a little bit, but I'm soft on the feet kind of thing. Like I can I can get in there, but I could also tell you how it is. Like if I think maybe your issue is because of something that you're doing, I have to be able to be honest with you.
Sometimes you have to tell. Yeah.
Can you tell how each of us would respond if we need the kid gloves or the fucking man gloves?
I think both of you would handle man gloves.
Yeah.
That's how I
would.
Yeah. I can 100%. That's exactly how I.
But I will
acted
say this: sitting with both of you, there would be definite times where we may hit something where it's like, got to bring it down. I gotta soften up how I'm handling you guys. Like I could just tell.
Because you can see like you might be. Yeah, I can see that because I remember I played basketball was my sport, and I responded to that almost like drill sergeant mentality when like I was trying to get through a drill or whatever, and I wasn't doing. Or I'm being a little bit lazy behind it, or I'm in the game and I'm being a little bit like tentative.
Yeah.
The coach and the assistant coach would be like, Josh, what the fuck are you doing?
Wake up.
Wake up.
Yeah.
Wake your ass up.
Yeah.
Stop being like a little bitch and get out. And I'd be like, and I get angry, and now I'm like, all right, now I'm in. Now I'm in, right?
And they go, there we go. That's what I like.
Yeah,
to
like
see.
that exactly.
Yeah,
and that's the fire. That's the fired up mentality. And I responded to that as versus, all right, like, come on, man, you got this.
Exactly.
You got
I
this.
also think there's like a time and a place for the
Both.
man gloves
100%.
and the kid gloves because.
And that's what
it's situational. That's what I
Yeah.
mean. So like if if I work with somebody who, and again I just had this, so a client that came to me, it was a woman. I'm still working with her, so I can't give details obviously. But
confidential.
She was sexually assaulted as a younger woman, and it was a family member, so it was rough, and it took us literally 3 weeks to get to that because I knew it was in there. I knew it, but I was letting her figure it out of where her issues were coming from. And finally,
letting her bring it to the surface.
She brought it up, and all of a sudden, I'm like, it was like that like light bulb question where I was like, "What happened when you were this old?" I kind of like put the math together, and I'm like, "What happened when you were around this age?" Boom! Like it was like I punched it, and I just hit it, and she lost it, and I'm like, "That's what I needed to see." And then it was one of those things where like I was dealing with her. She was kind of that like tough exterior where I had to be tough. I had to kind of get in there. But then once I hit that, I had to bring it way down because it's a touchy subject. It's something you got to really handle nicely, but we came to the root of the biggest issue in her life.
And I imagine that once she finally
you face that monster.
It's like she's weightless.
Yep.
Right?
She
because
said
it's deep down in there.
Yep.
And you finally like, you know, you're kind of like, it's there.
Yep.
But if you say it versus if she says it or he says it,
exactly,
it's totally different, right? Because you saying it, they still didn't admit to it. But once they finally bring it up and they release it, it's like, all right, now we can start.
I could have asked her. I could have been like, were you raped when you were 18? And it's like,
it's not the same.
I mean,
no, because then you feel like you're interrogated. You got to be in a defensive
You
mode.
got to come to me
because they're still shut off.
Exactly.
Once they open up, you're like, now
because there's a power. There's a power of you saying it yourself and realizing it.
You're
admitting it. Yeah.
Admitting it's coming to life.
The exercise that we did after that, which is like my thing that I do when I learned this from my coach, is like we do this thing where once I figure out what the biggest issue is, like that, like the top shelf, that's where all your issues, where I think and we both agree like that's where it's coming from.
Yeah, the root cause of everything.
Yep. We do this exercise where I literally make you relive it. I put you right back in that situation.
That's
you
tough.
Talk through it, and you close
tough,
your eyes, and
man.
we do it, and it's like, and all of a sudden you talk through it, and basically what I do is I basically have your current self take that person and walk them out of the room in the exercise. And it doesn't work. Sometimes you got to do it a couple times. I just did it with somebody two nights ago, and the outcome was like unbelievable. And then when it was over, I had them open their eyes, and I was like, "How do you feel?" And they were like, "I feel like total peace. Like it's all gone."
See, that reminds me of
it was amazing.
There was an exercise. I forgot the guy's name.
Mm-hmm.
He's very famous. If I said the name, you know exactly who it is. He's an older gentleman, white hair. He's got glasses, and a lot of the videos are kind of like that older retro video. I believe he was in part of The Secret. I don't know if you ever read the book The Secret.
No.
About like basically like affirmations. Like
Okay.
You're speaking.
I don't know what the red.
Yeah, and it's talking about like it's basically like think it. And
Oh, I know you're talking
what
about
a man
now.
thinketh, the man becometh.
Yes,
right,
yes.
thoughts become things. I forgot his name, but anyway,
Mhm.
he talked about an exercise very similar, not as deep as that, but very simply says if you're ever like worried about something, whatever it is, or if you're stressed, he goes write down everything on a piece of paper that you're worried about. Right, like let's say you have a big presentation coming up. You're like, what if I don't answer the right question? Write it all down, everything you're worried about. Look at it once, and crumple it up and throw it in the garbage.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, and the visualization of you taking your worries and throwing them away. It's like
Very,
first
very similar.
off, you've taken them, you've released them from your body onto a piece of paper. So now they've left your body on the piece of paper, and you're physically watch yourself crumple it up and throw them away.
Yep.
It's like the visual representation of that.
Yep.
He goes, and you may not like feel it immediately. He goes, but that's like a way to trick your mind of like I'm taking all of my work and I'm tossing them in the garbage and they're gone.
We
when
Marissa and I were stuck in COVID, like when it first was hot, we just moved in. We had each other's throats every day for weeks, and she was like, "I'm tired of this." I'm like, "Fucking so am I." She's like, "Let's write all the shit that pisses us off about each other, and then we're just gonna burn it and let it go up in the sky."
That's
and fly."
amazing.
That's even better.
That's
Burning.
amazing.
And I was like, "All right, I'm in," and we
Yep.
did it, and it was like a fucking like release. Like,
Oh yeah.
I love you.
Yeah.
You're the best.
Yeah,
this is awesome.
All that shit you wrote down.
It was
it's
pretty
like,
cool.
I'm not.
It was pretty-
I'm gonna ruin my marriage because of this. Come on.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Well, that's
make
actually
sense.
on the flip side of that.
Yep.
When my wife and I got married, our pastor, he had printed out the whole. He actually gave us the gift, but he had the whole ceremony right here.
Okay.
Right? And he had all of our vows. Okay, and he had printed them out on pieces of paper, and he had them in separate books, and he handed it to us after the wedding. And he's like, "This is a gift that I have for you guys." He goes, "Here's what I want you to do." He goes, "This is your ceremony." He goes, "These are your vows, right? On 2 separate pieces of paper." He goes, "I want you to seal these up, okay, in a box." He goes, "And whenever you have your first big blowout," he goes, "and it will, there's going to be something that's a blowout, right?"
Yep.
He goes, "I want you to each take the other person's vows, go into a separate room, and read them." He goes, "Take a half an hour, read them, and then come back." And he goes, "It'll remind you of all of the things of why you guys are together in the first place,
That's
and you'll
amazing.
completely forget
Yeah.
about whatever the little, because it's probably going to be something small."
Yep.
He goes, "So you remove yourselves, you each read the other person's vows, and then you come back." And I'm like, that is, and it made me cry because I was like,
Yeah.
and he handed it to us, and it was beautiful, and he's like, "It was a wonderful wedding. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of it. Here's my gift to you." And I'm like,
That's amazing.
and it's on the flip side of it is it's more of a reminder of why are we together, right?
Yeah.
These are all things that I love about you.
Yep.
Forget this, and then you're like, you come back, what the fuck were we even arguing about?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Does it even matter? No,
That's
because
like
99% of the shit you argue about does not matter.
doesn't matter. Yep.
If it's not going to matter in 5 years from now, it won't. It doesn't matter right now.
Yeah.
Let it go, man.
Yeah, another exercise I do. It's very similar to both really close to what you were doing, but we'll do kind of similar. Like I did it with this girl, and before we got into the exercise I just told you guys about, I do this thing called letter to self or letter. Oh my god, it's just a letter. So you write a letter to the person that hurt you or did something, or like the reason why you're angry or whatever it is. You write everything you'd ever wanted to say. If they're alive, great. If not, that's fine too. You're still writing the letter. And then you throw it out. And it's like that same exercise of like taking it and throwing it away and leaving it in the past.
You've
That's where
gotten
it
it
stays.
out of your brain.
That's it.
Onto paper.
When you write things down, I tell it to everybody, whether it's positive stuff or negative stuff. If you're writing down goals, write them down. If you try to remember stuff, you're not going to capitalize on any of it.
Yeah,
You got to write it down.
It's the materialization
100%.
of your thoughts.
You're affirming it. Basically,
you put it on a piece of paper.
Exactly.
Now it's there. It's
there.
real.
Yep.
It's right there.
Yep.
Right. And the same thing. Okay, the goals and the affirmations. You can read them every single day. There they are.
It's just
But
like you
then-
hitting the timer before you start your cold
I can-
shower.
I can
You're committed
fucking-
to it. So you
I'm
write them
committed
down.
now. I see it. I can
Same thing.
see it going down. And
Yep.
every second it goes, I'm not in the shower. I'm more of a bitch.
Exactly.
So it's like,
Exactly.
get the fuck in the shower. Man.
Get the hell in there.
Yeah, and it goes down, and it goes back into like just communication overall, especially since we're on the topic of spouses. Thing like what you said, like what we with me and my wife's name is Alexa. So with Alexa, we have a rule that if an argument is starting or something gets brought up, the second someone gets loud or the second a curse is dropped, doesn't matter if it's never doesn't have to be at you. It could just be like, I don't fucking understand. That's it. Argument ends. Because you're getting to that point where you're going to start to say shit that's going to hurt. And you don't want to get there. So we stop the argument, walk away, and we'll come back to it. 9 times out of 10, we pop in, we go, what the fuck were you arguing about again? Doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
Doesn't even make sense. Like, whatever, it's like, I don't remember to you. Okay, let's just move the fuck. I'm sorry that we got into an argument. I don't know what it was about.
Let's move the fuck on.
Move on, that's it.
Wait,
go back. Walk away. Walk back. Yeah.
See, that's actually, it's my wife and I have a thing that we do as well is like, if there's something bothering you, like if I'm doing something that she doesn't like, she tells me immediately.
Yep.
And vice versa. Instead of letting it, like, what's the word?
Fester?
Instead of letting it like fester up, and then something else
blows up,
and it's like if I'm, it could be something simple, okay, very simple. Like for instance, the protein shakers, right? I have the protein shakers, and leaving the protein shaker in the sink without opening it up and rinsing it is like a bugaboo. She's like, one, my hands are soapy, I can't open it now because now, and then when I open it, I want to throw up because it's disgusting. She's like, she's like, I did it like twice. She goes, honey, listen, I don't like that you do this. Please, next time, just open it up and rinse it out, and then it'll be fine. I'm like, cool, because I did it like once or twice, and then if I forget, she's like, honey, I'm like, hand up accountability. I'm sorry, right? But something like that, because if she doesn't tell me that she doesn't like me doing that, then every single time, first off, I don't know that she doesn't like it, so I'll just continue to do it. And then second of all, now it festers up because every single time she sees that, she gets a little annoyed, and then something else like, oh, I hung up the picture the wrong way. She's like, you never fucking do anything right. Are you kidding? Like, and that's how. So she's like, she nips it right in the butt of me. She's like, listen, can you next time? I don't like that. It kind of bugs me. Something cool. You're right, honey.
That's
no
amazing.
problem.
It's amazing.
No problem.
You guys have communication like that. That's great.
And it's the simplest thing.
Yep.
I'm like, just tell me what I'm doing wrong.
Yep.
That I can, so I know not to do it, because if you don't, I'm not a mind reader.
Yeah.
Okay. As much as women want us to be mind readers, I'm not a mind reader. Tell me what I'm doing wrong, and then I won't do it anymore. That's it.
It's a fact.
Yeah.
But you said communication. You have to be in communication.
Yep.
And the other thing is, don't ever go to bed angry.
No, I don't care if we stay up till 3:00 in the morning. We're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
We're gonna solve it.
And I'm always gonna say before she leaves the house, before she goes to sleep, everything is, I love you.
Yep.
Every single time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, but if you say it too much, I'm like, no. Every single time.
You can never use those words enough.
It's 3 simple words.
That's it.
And it has so much meaning. It's so powerful every single time. Never go to bed angry, and always say I love you before you guys either go to sleep or if you part ways because you go to work or wherever.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, a lot of that goes back to like how you were brought up too. So like if you watched, communication only came from one side. That's how I grew up, and then eventually my mom finally was like, no, I'm not dealing with that. But it was my dad's way or the highway. He'd get loud, and then the conversation was over. You weren't saying another word. Yeah. And that's just how it was. Yeah. And it's just how that's how he was brought up. So he's just a product of his environment, but I wanted to break that because my, Alexa, that wasn't going to fly because that's not how she was raised. She was raised with, you got a problem? We handle it right now. If we can't handle it right this second, we are going to come back to it. We're not going to let it go for a week, brush it under the rug, and like you just said, then boom, then that happens. Then you have a huge argument.
That's right up my alley, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
The same way.
Yeah.
You got to be in communication, man.
Yeah.
Got it, man. Where we at?
Hour and 15, man.
All right,
we're rocking and rolling. We got plenty of fucking time,
crushing.
man.
We're crushing it.
We got plenty of
time. No, because sometimes I like to be like, we're 30 minutes. Like 30 minutes. I thought we were here for like an hour and a half.
I'm vibing with you guys a lot, so I could sit here for hours talking.
I love. See, this is
good synergy around here.
100%.
Good synergy.
Yeah.
Look, we got cigars. We got good.
So cigars. So let's talk about cigars.
Okay.
When did you start smoking cigars?
Consistently or overall?
Well, let's go. Like, when did you have your first ever?
Probably
cigar?
my sophomore year of high school with my dad's friend who's a cop. I was at his bar.
That was about the same time that.
Yeah.
You were about the same time, right? 15, 16?
High school? Yeah, I mean, it was like Black and Milds. So, I mean,
first real cigar.
Yeah, I was smoking real cigars.
I couldn't tell you the first cigar. Yeah. I mean, it was definitely, at one point in high school, I tried one, but I always thought Black and Milds were cool as hell. And I liked the little high you get when you inhaled it. When I was at a party, but we won't go there.
Yeah.
So okay, so like 15, 16. So at what
Yeah.
point did you say, okay, now you're like, I'm a cigar smoker, and
I mean, that was like my like initial like give it a try. It was with my dad's friend who's a
Did
cop,
you like it or
and
no?
I loved it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
What did you like about it?
It was just like you had something in your hand and it tasted good, and it just
I'm not quite sure what to do with my hand.
You're just
right?
you're just bullshit, and you're just talking, and it's just like you guys always say, it just kind of brings you together. You could be with 30 people and smoke cigars together, and it's like
that's a nice plug.
You make friends with all of them.
That's a nice little plug right there.
I
Appreciate that.
I got you. Yeah.
That was good.
Didn't go unnoticed.
Yep.
Mental note.
But yeah, then I started dating Alexa, and her stepdad, who's my father-in-law now. He huge cigar guy.
So you got a real Arnold Schwarzenegger story then.
Oh yeah,
Because that's how Arnold got into my father-in-law.
yeah, literally.
introduced me.
I came over to her house, and he was outside, and he's an Italian, so he was cooking or whatever, and he was outside, and he's smoking a cigar, and I'm just kind of like, I'm with you guys. Like, you guys were strangers to me, and now like I feel like we're boys. You know what I mean? So I walked into the backyard, and I was like, yeah, nice to meet you. It was like first time I met him. I'm like, nice to meet you. I'm Rob. Whatever. I'm like, what are you smoking? And he starts looking at me, and I'm like, what is that? And he's like, oh, it's Alec Bradley White Gold or whatever it was. And I'm like, oh, nice. He goes, you want one? I'm like, sure. And he's like, go upstairs, go in the humidor, go get one. I'm like, okay. Ran up. He's like, whatever you want, take whatever you want. And I'm like, I'll just take that one because that's what you're smoking.
Yeah,
so I don't
you don't want to take. Yeah,
I don't know what was in there. I'm like, my luck, I'm going to take an expensive stick.
come
and
down
I'm
with
like,
That's what that's
or a
what,
Blanco.
That's
It's
what
like,
yeah.
whoa,
What
wait
are you
a
doing?
second.
I just met you. Go back upstairs. Yeah.
No, those are my good those are my good ones.
Yeah,
go back
yeah.
up
You
there, kid.
go to the right side, not the left
Fucking
side.
on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I envision being that same dad one day where 'cause I'm having a daughter. So before you came, I said, hey, let's talk about me being a dad because Justin wants to be a dad sometime soon. So I was like, let's talk about some dad shit.
Yeah.
But because it's a whole new world for me. So
Yeah. Me too. Definitely me too.
How old's your son?
He's 1. He just turned 1 about 2 weeks ago. June 7th was his birthday. So
Great.
yeah, it was awesome.
I think he's old enough for a stogie.
I think I said it to him. I'm like, you want to drink? You want to smoke? What do you want? Yeah.
Actually, it's funny. So I have a picture of my mother. I'm gonna find it because this is a great picture. Eric's seen it before.
Yeah.
But I have a picture. I think I just typed in baby and it popped up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, here it is, first one. So this is a picture of me and my mother in Germany, and I can't be over a year old, and she's
No way.
she's sick. She's letting me drink beer
out of a pint.
out of a gigantic. I think they call that a Moss.
I
It's a
think that's
liter.
why you're so big. That's why we call it a
And,
German missile.
Okay.
But it was fun because like the old like my parents, they were German, and so they were like, listen. So like when I was younger, like that's my first sip of beer, and I'm like, what, 6 months old, maybe a year, okay, and I'm sipping fucking beer already, right? And I'm like, come on, go ahead.
Yeah.
But they used to do one of the things was when you're teething, they'd put like whiskey or schnapps or something on your teeth, and people are like, you can't do that. No. It's not gonna.
It makes me the man who I am.
I'm like,
exactly.
it's not gonna kill the child.
Yeah.
Okay, you're not like giving the child shots of vodka. You're doing a little, right? But growing up, we would do, and I think it actually helped with not abusing alcohol.
Yes.
Right? Because like you said, perfect example.
Yep.
You weren't really a partier.
Exactly.
And then you go to college and you fucking blow it out the water. You're like, whoa, wait a second.
Yep.
I can't do that.
Yeah, I didn't have that mentality.
So like when I
didn't pull anything back.
Don't get me wrong. There was times in college that I never, like, I don't want to say I abused alcohol. Like I never had like a hospitalization
No, me
of
either.
it.
I didn't have any.
But
of
I
that.
abused it. But I had some nights. I was like, okay, let's be
You
honest.
beat up a
right?
bottle.
I had some nights where I was lit up like a Christmas tree.
I can't stand you.
Okay.
I'm on top of the world.
All right. I had a night walking home from a party once, and I just was like, that's it. I'm done right here. And halfway home, I laid on somebody's grass and slept for like an hour and a half. Okay. I've had those nights. But when I was younger, being a German family, we had, family dinners. And at a certain age, like 10 or 11, you would be introduced to alcohol, to beer.
Okay.
So they would give you what's called a Radler, which is beer and like seltzer or 7-Up. And when you're young, it's mostly seltzer, 7-Up, and a little bit of beer.
Yeah.
And then kind of like a shandy almost. And then as you get older, it's a little bit more beer, a little bit less. And then you're 14, 15, you have, full beers, right? Because in Germany, you can pretty much drink whenever you want if you're with a parent. And then you get to a point where now I'm like, all right, I'm introduced to drinking. So now I get to a point where now I'm legally able to drink. It's like, well, I've been doing this since I was
I don't need it.
10 or 11.
6 months years old.
Okay. But
Mom
it's
swapped out bottles for a beer bottle now. So
I don't even know where I was going with that story. But
I think we're just talking about like just getting introduced to like cigars and that kind of
Okay,
thing.
yeah, like getting so all right. So you have a son.
Yeah.
At what point are you going to?
I mean, I have no timeline. You know what I mean?
Whenever he says like, hit that,
yeah, hit that guy. I have one of those. Yeah.
All right, son.
And then we'll make the call there.
Pop a squat right
yeah,
here.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
You want to hit this? You want
Yeah.
to see what this is
You're
like?
gonna be like, all right, I think you're old enough.
What you got to do,
Yeah.
just like all the other cigar stories that we've heard. Now, we've had a lot of cigar companies on, cigar families,
Mm-hmm.
and the mantra always seems about their first cigar with their dad, uncle, whoever who owns the cigar company that they tried it with. They tell them to inhale the cigar.
Really?
So they tell them, yeah, take a hit of this, inhale it. They do it. They fucking cough up a lung. They're like, oh my God, this is terrible. And he's like, all right. That's what you don't do with a cigar. All right?
Right.
Lesson learned.
Yeah.
That's what you don't do.
Like
Throats
Lito
on fire.
Gomez from LFD Cigars we've had
Yeah.
on, and that was one of his stories. He's like, my dad was like, yeah, inhale a cigar. It's good for you. And he's like, I did. And he's like, what the fuck is this? He's like, no, that's what you don't do with a cigar.
Right.
He's like, ever since then, I've never inhaled a cigar ever again.
Wow.
So
yeah.
maybe he's like 16.
I've also heard the story of where parents would be like, okay, you want to start drinking? All right, we're gonna have a party,
I'm gonna get you so.
but I'm getting you fucked up.
Yep.
Okay, you want to drink?
Yep.
All right, this is what we're gonna do, and they'll drink with them and get them so hammered, and they wake up the next day and they're super hungover. And then they make them do chores and shit. And they're like, all right, you know this feeling right now? That's what happens when you abuse alcohol.
You're describing my life.
You don't ever want to feel. You don't like that feeling?
Yeah.
Then don't do what we did last night.
Exactly.
All right. Take it easy. You can drink, but don't go like that. And then they're like, oh, I don't ever want to do this.
There's some truth to that. Because I'm sure you can see a lot of people getting horrified that you just said that. But there is a lot of truth behind it, because I have friends and even family members that were really not wound up, but very guarded and protected. And as soon as they, like you said, as soon as you get that little free leash, they're kind of off the leash.
Absolutely.
They're out. They're drinking again, sloshed. They're all this shit, and you're like, where the hell did this come from? And it's like, well, you guarded him for so long. You hadn't able to ever experience, and you know the shit happens.
Yeah, I went
One
to,
of the things I don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I'm just going back to what you just said before. I went to for my 18th birthday. I went to Sacred Heart for my sister went there, so I was staying at her apartment. Me and my buddy, we went there, got annihilated, just like passed out,
waffled.
Yeah, had a 7:30 ferry the next morning. We're on the ferry, literally like head against the window, just feel like death. Come home. My mom's not home. My dad's outside doing something, whatever. I sneak in. I lay on the couch. I pass out. I felt like I was asleep for an hour. Like, he walks in. He's like, if you think you're going to lay on my couch, he goes, get out. I am like puking in the backyard. He's like, what'd you learn? And I was like, yeah, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Until next week.
I learned my lesson now.
Yeah.
One of the things that my wife and I talk about all the time is the same thing. Right? When we have children, how do you, like, you can't shelter them all the time. Like, you can't protect them from everything, right? You can't. It's not like Bubble Boy where you just. It's like, listen. So one of the things that we agree on is, all right, there's gonna be a point, right? They're gonna go to the parties. Okay, they're gonna party, whether you like it or not. They're gonna go to parties. Okay, we've all done it, right? So we said that, listen, when our kids are getting to that age where there's gonna start to be some parties, we're gonna say, hey, listen, I'm okay if you go to a party, right? Obviously, don't bring the cops home. Don't do anything stupid. Be respectful and be
responsible.
Be responsible. Said, but if you're going to a party, that's fine. But I'm dropping you off, and I'm picking you up from the same location.
Yep.
Okay? I have your location, so I'll always know where you are. And it's not to spy on you, just for safety precaution. But I'm going to drop you off, and I'm going to pick you up. And that's totally fine.
Yep.
Right? And then and be responsible with it. So if there's a party over there, what time's the party? 8 o'clock? Cool. Let's go. You got beer? All right, fine. Here you go. What time I'm picking you up? Midnight. Right? I'm going to pick you up at midnight. Don't make me going all over fucking town looking for you. You be there, and I'll pick you up. Have your fun, but I'm going to be there to drop you off and get you back.
That's nice. That's good.
And it's fun. So it's like there's the give and take, right? I'm letting you go do this, but don't abuse it.
Yeah.
Right? I said midnight. If it's 12:30, then next week it's going to be 11. Okay? If it's 1 o'clock, next week it's going to be 9. All right? Like, give and take, right? I'm giving you a little bit. You have to give some back. That's how it goes.
My mom would always say that. She's like, I'll give you enough rope until you hang it. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? That kind of thing. She was like, I'll give you all the rope in the world, but it'll get getting cut every time you screw up. And
right?
then it's like, you're out of rope. That's it.
If I say be home by 10 o'clock, right now you have a car or whatever. I say be home by 10 o'clock or be home by 11. Better be home.
Yep.
And if you're not, then guess what? Next week you're not going out. Like this is the fucking rule. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
My mom would always say, "Listen, you live under my four walls and the roof. These are my fucking rules."
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not trying to I'm not sheltering you. You can go do what you want,
Mm.
but these are the fucking rules.
Yep.
Home by 10 o'clock, not 10:01.
Yeah.
9:59, or
Right.
I'm hunting your motherfucking ass down.
But it also teaches consequences to your actions.
Absolutely,
Right.
yeah.
So one of the things I've always said is that nobody on planet Earth, nobody on God's green earth is excused from the consequences of your actions. Okay. If you decide that you want to eat a bowl of sugar every single day for breakfast, that doesn't excuse you from the consequence of diabetes. Okay. That's the consequence to the action. All right. There's good consequences. If you do the action of eating right and working out every single day, the consequence of that is being healthy and no disease and you're in good shape. That's the consequence of the action.
Yeah.
And it teaches kids, if you do this, you get this, right? If you put in the work, you get the results. If you don't do this, then you don't get that, right? That and nowadays in our society is there's no consequences for actions. People can do whatever the hell they want, and there's no repercussions. You're like excusing them from the actions. People go in New York City all the time. They go rob a store, rob a liquor store at gunpoint, and they're out the next freaking day.
You know what I heard? I heard earlier someone said, we got rid of bullying, which was a bad thing, because now we got rid of the people who would stick up for the kid getting bullied.
Yep.
And I was like, damn.
True.
Yeah. Yeah, because now they can't.
All the anti-bullying shit,
Yep.
which is obviously bullying isn't good, but it's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's going to get bullied, but
Now the bully gets in trouble for protecting somebody. Not the bully. The person that steps in and takes on the bully gets in trouble for standing up for the person who's getting bullied. And it's like, why? Of course, no one's going to stand up for anybody anymore. I'm not going to get in trouble.
it's
horrible.
It's fucking nuts, man.
Yeah.
It's fucking
Like what
nuts.
you were saying before, like with consequences to your actions. You mentioned like eating a bowl of sugar. Like that's how I tell people when I start doing nutrition programs for them. It's the same thing. It's like if it's like my biggest thing with that is like if it's not in the house, you can't eat it.
Right. Don't buy it.
Don't buy it. So it's like you have to, if you're gonna make the decision to, I'm not making a dig at Eric, but buy a thing of Oreos. buy a thing of Oreos. If you're
Eric's gonna go home and throw out his Oreos.
I don't even have any Oreos in my closet right now.
I got bullied enough on the podcast. I'm done with this
Fucking bullshit. I'll fucking never bring this guy back
It's the
ever
worst
again.
life coach I've ever heard of. Yeah.
He's the bully.
He's the bully.
Hey,
yeah.
listen, he's telling you what you need to hear, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Give it to you straight.
but
No
it's
chaser,
just-
man.
Yeah, if it's in the house, you're tempted to have it. So it's like, don't bring it in the house. It's the same idea.
That's I say that all the time with the grocery shop. I'm like, just don't
buy it.
buy it.
That's it.
Don't buy it. Like you can't eat it if it's not there.
That's it.
Don't fucking buy it.
Yep.
Okay.
And definitely don't go in on an empty stomach.
Yeah, no. That's a
that's
horrible thing. Yeah.
It's such
I just avoid the aisle. Just don't go down the aisle.
Yeah.
Like I'll go to the aisle. I'm like, there's nothing down that aisle that's good for me. I'm not going.
Well,
Nothing.
I'm a big advocate and person for Trader Joe's. I'd never had Trader Joe's until I moved up to Westchester, and it's right down the block from my house.
Yeah.
And I like going there because it's a small grocery shop or store, and I know how to go in and out and what to get. And there's not really too many things that I don't get because they don't really offer like, all the crazy shit that you can get like Stop and Shop.
Yeah.
But it's easy for me to go in. And then, you can get, dark chocolate-covered pretzels or an ice cream sandwich.
Yep.
That's to the extent of the stuff that you can get. They don't
exactly.
have, Fruit Loops and Pop-Tarts and Doritos.
Yep.
And,
They're definitely health conscious.
yeah.
for
So
sure.
that's why I
for sure.
appreciate the
I would say
the
there's
Trader
just
Joe's.
3 aisles that you need to go down: the produce, dairy, and the meat and vegetables,
That's it.
meat and poultry. That's it.
Yep.
That's only
Yeah.
the only other aisle. Okay, maybe coffee.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because I mean, a lot of people say that coffee is bad for you too, but it's not. Okay,
I'm drinking coffee with the water right
it's not
now.
bad for you.
Yeah.
That would be like the only aisle, but the other 3 aisles. If you
Yep.
if you'd be amazed if you just stick to those 3 aisles.
Yeah.
You'd be fucking amazed
There's
how much your
literally
body
3
changes.
aisles in Trader. I mean, you have all the food on the outer perimeter, but there's
Yep.
literally 3 aisles
Yeah,
in between.
yeah.
So for the last year, my wife's been pregnant. I've been doing all the grocery shopping, and she gives me this list. I'm like, I don't even need it. I know exactly where to go. Bang, bam, boom.
Yeah.
I'm out. When you
Yeah.
go to Stop and Shop, ShopRite, all these
It's like
places,
going to a mall.
it's huge.
Yeah.
You can get everything there. And
Yeah.
that's where you spend the grocery bill goes through the roof, and
Yeah.
that's where you can get. Oh, there's a new flavored Pop-Tart,
Yeah.
hot cherry fudge sundae.
Do you ever,
Sure, I'll
do you
try
ever,
that.
you ever notice how grocery stores are set up? Actually,
There's a science to it.
so there's a sign. So if you think
Yeah.
about it, for instance, the grocery store I go to Lidl, right?
Okay.
Lidl,
And I go to
Lidl.
Aldi.
Which
so
same thing.
same thing. Yep.
Which they're opening up a Whole Foods right across the street, which is going to be dangerous. But Dangerous in a good way because whole foods is good.
It's just so expensive.
But it's expensive.
Yeah.
But we have Uncle G's over here. That's way expensive.
Oh, yeah.
But you go, they have a good butcher. So you get, if you want to get steaks, you go
Is that
there.
like a mom and pop
Uncle
grocery store?
Giuseppe's.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, so when you walk in this, so the first thing you get is like the produce section, right? This is how Lidl set up. You have the produce section. Then there's the meat section over here. And then there's the dairy section. Mm-hmm. But then once you do that, to get back to the checkout, you have to go through all the shit.
Yep.
All the frozen section, the cookies, the chips, all you have to go through that.
Yeah, they're not stupid.
And they set it up on purpose because it's like, all right, I'm going to get what I need, but now on the way back, the shortest route is through all the crap that you don't need, but you know,
those look good.
Yeah. And then when you're at the checkout, what's a checkout? Fucking candy.
Oh yeah,
a bunch of candy lined up. Oh, let me get this. Let me get that. Let me get. It's
they
set
do it
up
all.
that way.
I mean, you go to like a Modell's or like a clothing or a sporting store, and then when you go to checkout, it's like a maze. It's like in, out, in the waiting line. But what's all there? It's all like
sunflower seeds, candy, gum.
It's all like I forgot what the term is called, but
it's a science. They do it.
It's brilliant. If you really think about it, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's like an impulsive product.
That's it. Yep.
So it's like, $4 for this like Big League Chew. Oh yeah, sure, throw it on. Oh, $4 for this. Oh yeah, throw it on.
It's science,
That's
man.
like going to like every once in a while I'll go to Marshalls because I get all my gym clothes from Marshalls.
Yeah.
It's cheap. It's
the
cheap.
best.
You know, I mean, it's
Yeah.
good
Love
stuff,
Marshalls.
but it's cheap.
The shirt's from Marshalls.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this one, yeah. And you get to the same thing. You get to the register and it's candles, it's cups, it's shakers,
iPhone chargers.
And if my wife is with me, I'm like, you don't need another water bottle.
We
have a rule in the house. If I buy a shaker cup, I gotta throw one out. From home.
They stack
same
up.
Same thing with her water
They do
bottles.
stack
Because
up, yeah.
I'm like, you only have one mouth. How many water bottles do you need? And
For
like,
sure.
she has
But
a
this
cabinet
one's
just
pink.
Yeah, exactly. This one holds a little more. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, then the one that doesn't at home,
Gotta
gone.
go. It's
yeah.
gotta
It's
go.
funny. That's we had talked about this before. Is casinos are set up the same way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you ever know how the science
You
of
want to talk about
casinos.
science? Holy shit. Yeah,
dude, the
yeah.
way the carpet that they pick. You ever notice that the carpet in a casino is fucking wild?
It's literally down to angles in walls. I
Yeah.
mean, it's down to that.
I've actually looked this up. So the carpet is designed to look disgusting, so that your eyes don't look down; they look up. And what's at eye level is all the slot machines and shit. It gets to a point where there's a reason why all the casinos like in a big fucking circle.
No right
big
angles.
maze. There's no right angles. There's no clocks in a casino. There's no windows in a casino because they want to keep you in there as long as possible. You can never know where the exit is. You never know where the cash out section is. Where's the cage? I don't know where the cage is. There's no big sign for it. They want to keep you there. It gets down to the sound that slot machines make.
That's crazy.
You know that the winning, like the bells.
Yeah.
So if you've ever taken music theory, there's certain tones and certain scales or keys that are pleasing to the ears versus others. Whenever you're listening to music and somebody's playing and they hit a wrong note, you see like that didn't really sound too good. But whenever you hear a nice melody, it's pleasing to you. So the melodies and the tones that they use for a jackpot winner that they play during a slot machine are the tones that are pleasing to the ear. So they draw you in. You're like, oh, what's that sound? That sounds good. Let me go to...
And they play those sounds when no one's even playing it.
Exactly.
Yes, because it draws you in. If they, like, for instance, let's say there's a reason why they do that, like, that bell sounds a certain way. Because it sounds nice. If they played the you'd be like, I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
100%.
But they play the bells, the nice ringing bells. And it's got a certain tone to it, certain note. And it's like, ooh, that sounds pleasant.
Yeah.
Let me go there.
Casinos are meant to bury
It's
the
wild.
degenerate
It
gambler.
gets so deep.
Everything's
into
a sign, even with the phones,
It's
man.
insane.
Is that what is it called?
What they listen to you?
No,
That's the crazy shit.
That
too.
one
Oh,
thing,
you're talking about the Angry Birds thing?
Well, that's an aspect of it. But like just the scrolling, like you're scrolling because you're getting the dopamine. Like, oh, what's Rob doing? Oh, what's Justin doing? Oh, what's Marissa doing?
Did
what's
you ever
Alexa
hear about
doing?
that? Angry Birds?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Why
that's
Angry
it.
Birds were so successful?
No.
Yeah.
So Angry Birds, you know the game Angry Birds?
Yeah.
What's the main action that you do on Angry
The
Birds?
slingshot, right?
You
No,
flick,
but
right?
That's, yeah.
You flick it. You flick it up.
Yep.
What do you do on Instagram and
Yeah,
TikTok?
you're flicking.
You're
Yep.
flicking.
Yep.
So the guys behind the
Wow.
game said, "What's the most pleasing action that you can do on a phone that releases dopamine? It's the scrolling. It's the
Wow.
flicking." So they took that action, they put it in a game, and it went viral.
Yep.
Because everybody's like, they're doing the same thing, and they don't even realize it.
Yeah.
They're playing a game. They go, "Why is it so addicting?" Because they're freaking doing a scrolling.
I don't know if you noticed, like I get ads all the time on Instagram for those stupid little shooting games They're like, and it's like zombies or like people coming at you, and it's just going from left to right, and you're getting this prize, and you're getting.
They're always on like YouTube ads. When you go on YouTube, they're all on them. Yep.
And you know what? I watch them. I'm like, I'm like, I actually like watching. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. I'm not gonna play it, but
why would you not go to times 2? You went to -10. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Wild.
All the time.
Wild.
Yeah.
How they get you, man. That's how they get you.
It's and it's all a psychological thing.
It's amazing.
And you get stuck in that rut too when you're like, it's like 10 minutes and 15 minutes and you're like going, you're like, get the fuck off, get the fuck off. You get off and you're like,
have you ever looked at the screen time on your phone before?
I don't want to.
I make people do it. When I work with people, I make them do it, especially young kids, because...
Can I look at it right now?
Let's look at it. Right?
Yeah.
Let's look at our screen time.
Mine's on the floor. Mine's
how do I go?
like,
Settings?
Yeah, settings, and then your screen time should be on there.
Oh, screen time?
Yeah.
And it shows you like average, like what you're in apps, messages.
Mine right now is 24% up from last week. My daily average is 7 hours and 35 minutes.
7 hours you spend on your phone.
So how do I? I don't have it set up, I guess.
But you know what?
Do I have it not set up?
Screen time.
Yeah, it doesn't look like you have
I don't think you do.
Oh, maybe not. Okay.
I mean,
but like I'll make like, especially now, like I have a lot of like, not kids, but like I basically coach 18 and up is really where I sit.
Yeah.
And
that's cool.
A lot of times what they do is, a lot of the kids I have, mostly right now I'm noticing it with like young girls, is they're like self-esteem issues. And it's like, I ask them like, before we even get anywhere, how much time you spend on your phone? And they're like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, we're going to do it right now. Pull up your screen time. And it's the same thing, 8-9 hours a day. And I'm like, now go down and look, where is it mostly spent? And 9 times out of 10, it's apps. So it's social media, Instagram, whatever. And I'll go, okay, now go to your Instagram and tell me, who are you following? And they'll go, and it's all, IFBB Pro, bikini models, and girls that literally just show their asses for likes. And I'm like, and you want to be that? And that's like, that's why their self-esteem is so low, because these girls have millions of followers. They're making all this money. Meanwhile, all they do is just take pictures of their ass. Yep. That's it. I'm like, that's the problem. Like, that's a huge issue.
We say that. I actually found
crazy.
What is it?
Yeah.
Bro, for
are you on your phone for work though? A lot.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I tell people all the time reason why I'm like, Instagram is my highest, right? My Instagram, I guess this is
what were you at for today?
A weekly average. Oh, for today, let's see. Today, it's because I made a post today. Let's see, today, Instagram is 1 hour and 55 minutes.
That's not bad.
So 2 hours.
Yeah, it's a decent amount of time though.
Yeah,
to be on one app, that's a lot of time.
Well, think about it. 2 hours.
2 hours.
I could have done a lot of whole shit for 2 hours.
Yep.
Well, there's actually because we had talked about it before, is okay, getting to the point where you have a kid on the way, you have a 1-year-old. My wife and I are going to be having kids at some point, and it's all right. How this is terrible. We know this is bad for you. We know it's bad for you. It can be a blessing and a curse depending on how you use it, but we know that in kids, it's self-esteem issue. It's dangerous, right? So how do you limit that? So I said, there's got to be, because I think, okay, well, you can do the screen time where it's like, all right, you can limit how much access, but you can always ignore that, right? It pops up. You've been on for an hour. You hit ignore. And then it just becomes a habit. Ignore, and just keep going. So I said, there's got to be an app that, and if there isn't, I'm going to make this. But turns out there is, that you can download that can restrict apps during certain times and length of times. So for instance, I don't know what the app's called, but you download the app and you can set it on the kid's phone and say, all right, Instagram, you can only be on it for 1 hour a day, and then it will shut off for 24 hours before you can actually open it again.
And it like locks it up.
And it locks, you can't open it. And the other thing is you can set a time. So you said, listen, from the hours of 8 p.m. to 6 a.m., the app will not open. So you can't say, all right, it's time for bed. The kid goes to sleep, and he's on his phone for 5 hours. So it's like you can set these things. Hey, you can have the phone, but this is the rule, right? You can't be on this thing all freaking day long. And I'm like, that's a genius idea.
That's brilliant.
Put that into your kid's app. So now you're not, it's the give and take. You're not like completely restricting them, saying, no, you can't have this. But
you're limiting it.
This is the rule. You want this phone? And first of all, you're not getting a phone until you're like 14. Okay? You're not a 5-year-old that needs a cell phone. What are you doing? You're with me all day long. You don't need a cell phone.
No.
And you're like, oh, I'm going to school. My friends have it. So I'm dropping you off and I'm picking you up. You shouldn't be on that phone in school anyway.
I'll give you a flip phone.
Okay.
I was just talking to
make a call.
I was just talking to I do a radio station once a week, I-495. The guy named is Eric Koppelman. He has his own station, so I go on there. He does like a life coaching segment with me. And we were just talking about this because it's like, you have these young kids, and it's like, what do you need a cell phone for? And me and Alexa were down in Port Jefferson over the weekend, and we came out of an ice cream shop, and I look, and there's a kid. I swear to you, the little girl was probably 5 years old, pulling out, taking selfies. I'm like, what are and where are those selfies going?
Yeah,
like,
what
do you have an Instagram? Like some of these, I'm not talking shit, but like some of these parents, they have Instagrams for their kids.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, what? But like, I think of it, I go a little bit crazy, and I go, the creeps that are out there screenshotting these
That's
pictures.
not going crazy.
And,
That's just logic.
you know what I mean? But like, take screenshots.
They're thinking like a
throwing
father would
these
think.
things on a freaking like pedo web, whatever, pedo, whatever website. Your kids all over the place.
Yeah.
And you got these creeps that have access to your kids' photos. That's crazy to me. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean,
Doesn't
and you
make
think
sense.
about it like this. Okay, we're all about the same age, late 20s, early 30s. And we've only really had this level of technology for the last,
I would say I got my first
15 years?
iPhone I think I was a senior in college, senior in high school. So
But
2009.
but you got your phone. But think about like this level of social media, right? Because
Right.
when I got my first phone, it was a flip phone, right? And even when you get your first like iPhone, your Instagram was not.
The only
It's
thing
like
you really
Instagram
had,
didn't pop off until like 2012.
So, like, the last-
you had MySpace.
I would say the
MySpace.
last
It's like
like
the first thing.
But even that, you're not on it all day
No,
long.
you can't.
So this level of posting all day long
Yep.
is like the last decade or so,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And now think about, okay, so we've gotten it, let's say 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Now you get into this and you have this level of technology.
Exactly.
And we found how bad it can be from even just getting it at 20 years old and now you're 30 and how bad that is for you.
Yep.
Now imagine giving it to a 5-year-old when they're 30.
Mm-hmm.
They've had it for 25 years. We've only had it for the last 10 and we know how bad it is. Now think about, first off, where it is now, what it's going to be in 25 years.
Yep.
But now their entire life is just being on this. How damaging is that to a kid's
So
brain?
true. And that's like, I just had this happen at my son's first birthday party. It was I think he was 9. His is one of my wife's cousins or whatever. Not important, but all of a sudden someone had an issue with their phone. One of the adults had a problem with their phone. Kid pops out of nowhere and goes, "I'll fix it for you." Goes right in, fixes it, and hands it back. I'm like, dude, like, how the hell do you know how to do that? You're 9. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And he knows everything about. I mean, they're all like tech savvy. We were never like that. We were always playing outside.
It's just
never had phones.
So you're a young dad, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be a dad soon.
Yep.
And I see parents our age. They're on strollers. They're at restaurants. They give them the iPad in the stroller, so they're just watching
It's the worst thing
YouTube in
in
the
the world.
stroller or dinner.
So
So what is your take or perception of how you deal with that when your kid's being upset, crying, or just being out of whack? Like,
Get over it.
just suck it up.
Deal with it.
Yeah.
I'm not handing. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're in a grocery store, you're in a restaurant, they're throwing a fit. I am not handing you a phone or an iPad to shut you up. It's not happening.
I mean, I would just.
I agree with
I
that
would just go back.
1,000%.
It's crazy.
Go back to
me.
when my parents did. My youngest brother is 24, 25.
Mhm.
I remember being a kid when I think I'm 8 years older than him. So I remember him being a kid and he's crying, doing this. My mom would just take him up. We're in church or a restaurant. She would just take him up and bring him outside.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all you got to fucking do.
Yeah.
That's it.
Just bring him outside.
Parents, they know how to do it. They
And
don't.
the
They
thing
don't
is-
want it. They don't want to do it.
And you
That's
know
the
what?
thing.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like, people don't realize how detrimental it is, like in the long term when they do these things, because the kid needs to learn. My wife and I talk about this all the time. Is that when we have kids, we're going to immerse the kid in the stuff that we're doing. Okay, like if we're going to dinner at a restaurant, kid's gonna come with us and sit at the table, and the kid might have. But what happens is now the kid learns how to be socialized, how to control your emotions in environments when you have to, right? How to learn. Okay, I'm getting frustrated right now. All right, recognize you're getting frustrated. You need to learn how to self-soothe, how to calm yourself down, because the answer isn't, "Oh, I'm going to put this on." Because if you do that, they don't learn how to.
It's a reward.
It's a reward.
You're
It's
getting
like,
a reward
no.
for your bad behavior. It's like,
They
I don't
got to
want you
learn how
no.
to do these things,
Exactly.
okay? Because now they're going to be 14 years old and they can't sit still. They're like, I got to. No, you have to learn. All right, calm down. You feel like yourself getting tensed up. Take a couple deep breaths. Control your emotions down, right?
You know what happens? So now you just said, like, they're like this, right? What happens? They get diagnosed with ADD.
Yeah.
They get diagnosed with ADD. Meanwhile, the reason they're like that is because they need a fix. They need something to stare at. And then they'll zone out. Like, it's like the same thing. Then they go, all right, we give him this pill. He'll zone out. But it's like, no, don't give them that. Deal with it.
Yeah.
Just do what I did. When I was at a restaurant, I wanted a crayon or asked my dad for a pen. I flipped
Exactly.
over the paper,
Start
mat,
drawing.
and I would just draw shit.
Yeah.
Yep. They don't even
Bro,
give crayons anymore.
How many
It's
times
crazy.
at a restaurant I would draw, and this is kind of, I guess, kind of weird, but I would draw like a bridge collapsing and just like shit falling into it with like sharks and crocodiles.
Yeah.
Just draw stuff.
Yep.
But I was just drawing. I would
Yep.
draw like a Nike truck with footballs coming
Yep.
out, and an alligator at the bottom, and a guy getting eaten.
Yep.
But I would
And then mom and dad go, oh, look, he's quiet.
Yeah.
It's like,
Look,
that's all he
he's good.
needs. That's all he needs is a pen and a crayon.
it.
you
and
need
a
an
piece of paper.
imagination. You need
That's
an
it.
imagination.
And that's the thing too is you're not developing the kid's brain.
Not at all.
You're just stimulating it with something visual, and
Yep.
you're like, no, you need the kid to play. Let
my
the
dad
kid
would
be
my dad would
creative.
play
Let the kid
tic-tac-toe. Hey, you want to
Yeah.
play tic-tac-toe?
Exactly.
Yeah, all right,
Hangman,
boom, boom.
play
let
hangman.
the, and let the kid use their imagination.
You guys know
they
who
don't
Lou-
need a million toys.
Right.
They need like, especially at a young age,
Mhm.
right? I've seen all these parents will have the kid will be 1 or 2, and they're flooded with toys,
Yep.
like a million. I go, what? They don't need all these.
Mhm.
They need like 5,
Mhm.
okay? Because the kid's gonna use one, and when he's done playing with that one, you swap it out for another one. Now it's a new toy. Oh,
Yeah.
and they're gonna create scenarios,
Yep.
and they're gonna use their imagination to play
Yeah.
with and that's developing they're using, and then okay, they're writing here, and then even at like a young age now, they're 3 or whatever. You can do simple math equations.
Exactly.
Do like 2 + 2.
Yep.
Hey, you know what that is?
Yep.
Like, I don't know. Okay, what's 2? Now
Exactly.
they're using their
Yeah.
brain
You
the whole
stimulate that
time
in a different way now.
in a different
That's
way.
like, you guys know who Louis C.K. is? The comedian?
Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
he did a bit back not a long time ago, but a while back on his special called Chewed Up, I think it was called. And he did a bit where he was talking about kids, and he was like, if you think TV is good for your kids, just while they're watching it, just go up behind them and just turn it off and just see what happens. Kid's gonna lose his fucking mind. Turn it off, and the kid, he did like this like animated, like kid freaked out, and I'm like, but like that's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
iPads die, phone dies, they lose their mind. I'm like, that's not a good sign.
No.
You create. It's like
absolutely
it's almost like, I mean, might be a little extreme, but it's almost like a drug. It's like
It is a drug.
you take that, all of a sudden that drug's gone, and it's like I need it, and they don't even know how to function. They don't know how to function without it.
Before we settle up here
Yeah.
and get to the end, we forgot to mention the
yeah.
T-shirts we got.
yeah.
here.
Oh,
I
yeah.
wanted to. I saw the plastic, so I want. These are brand new T-shirts, fresh off the press.
Yep.
From Rob.
And by the way, these T-shirts are the same exact brand
Material.
that the Burn Down shirts are. Next level. I think it's the best brand out there.
So what do these T-shirts say?
Yep. So the front says "I am enough."
I am
I
enough.
don't know if you
baby.
can see it. And then on the back, it says "You are enough" with hashtag mental health matters. And then my Instagram at the bottom there, Bentivegna Coaching. And the whole point of that is the person on the front, it's for you that's wearing it that, as men and really as people in general, we never think we're enough for anybody, for ourselves, for
Yeah.
anybody around us. So on the front, it's for you that says "I am enough," but it's also the person that reads it and goes, "Oh, he said I'm enough." And it's like they put it in their head like I'm enough. And then on the back, obviously, it's "You are enough," and you're saying it to me, like you're enough too. But then it's also like it's an affirmation of like you're enough, you are enough.
Yeah,
And
you're
it's
saying
for-
it to
it's
yourself
for
in
you
your head.
too.
That's a cool.
It's
that's
for
a
you.
cool little
That's
concept.
why I did it. Yeah, and like you guys had the first ones. So besides the one I wore at the gym
Sad.
today, you guys
When are
had
they
the
going to be
first one.
available?
I'm trying to see if I can gain some traction on it first. I'm going to start. I literally just got them last night, so I'm going to start posting
Fresh.
with them and everything. So
Hell yeah.
we'll see how it goes. It's kind of like a movement in a way. You know what I mean?
That's
But
gonna-
it's
gonna be-
so
It's
important.
going to be my leg day shirt tomorrow.
There you go.
Gotta post it now.
There you go. I appreciate
Gotta post
it.
that
Yeah.
shit.
Hell yeah.
But Rob, we're coming to the end here.
Perfect.
And
Yeah, hour and 50 minutes, man.
Love it.
Damn.
Flew by 2 hours, man.
Damn.
We
So-
could go for another hour and a half and be a Joe Rogan. if you
Yeah.
want.
Well, my hand's starting to get a little.
Got a little olive oil coming?
A little sweaty.
Yeah, you got to open that door, get a little fresh
Yeah,
air.
get
in
some
here.
fresh air. But at the end of the podcast, we usually like to give you the red carpet and kind of just plug away. If there's anything that's coming up that you want to promote, want to
Okay.
plug, your socials, the floor is yours, my
Awesome.
friend.
Cool.
Go have at
All
it.
right. So, I mean, to get in contact with me, basically go to my website, rblifecoaching.com, and I'll talk about real quick, but I do this thing every single Monday from 9 to 11, and then from 4 to 6 at night. It's called Chat with Coach. It's 100% free. You go on my calendar, you pick the time block that you want within there, and then either that or you just shoot me a text. My personal number's on my website. I'll give it to you guys now. It's 631-466-4925. And you just shoot me a text. You say "Chat with Coach." You let me know what time you want to speak and how you want to meet with me, whether that's FaceTime, Zoom, Google Meet, whatever you want to do, or a phone call. And whatever time gap you pick, it's yours. You take 5 minutes of it. You take an hour. You take the whole hour. You take the whole 2 hours. Whatever you want, it's yours. If nobody else comes in, it's yours. 100% free. one session per person, but it's just my way of kind of like giving back, because some people just at a moment's notice they need an ear. Something happens or something's been going on and they can't afford to talk to somebody or whatever it is. I'm there. That's my thing. And then obviously my coaching services are always available. Everything's on my website.
That's
so
awesome.
I love it.
And where can people find you on Instagram?
Yeah.
All that stuff?
So my business Instagram is at Bentivegna Coaching. That's where I post all my TikTok videos, all my reels, all the motivational stuff. And then, I mean, if you want to follow the personal life, it's our Bentivegna 22. That's where we saw the ram and everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
February, I'm going on an elk hunt with the bow.
Nice.
So
Elk.
on
I
there
heard
too.
elk is actually like the best meat for you.
I'm going to have probably close to like 300 pounds.
I will
meat
pay you
that
for it,
day. You don't have to
100%.
pay me. You guys,
No, I'm
you
gonna
guys
pay.
accepted me on the show,
I'm
so I
gonna
really
pay you.
appreciate
I'm
that.
gonna pay you something.
So, no.
Because I actually talked. First off, I need to get a big enough freezer for it. But I talked about that as like, hey, listen, getting a couple guys like, let's just go get a whole cow or a whole deer, a whole elk, whatever it is. Split it up. Put that in the freezer. You're done. I don't need to buy meat ever.
I get so much venison throughout the year that I give it away. So I really do. If I know people that'll eat it, I'll give it to you.
I love venison.
Yeah.
I've only had elk once, and it was delicious.
Elk to me, I know we're going to wrap up, but elk to me is like a step above venison. I eat venison at least 3 times a week.
It was an elk burger, but it's
still good.
But it was still
like,
good.
If the way that I always tell people, if you're going to try it, throw it on a grill, salt and pepper, sear it on both sides, and eat it that way. Don't smother it. If you want to really taste what it tastes like, don't overload it with sauces and dips and all that other stuff.
I actually don't. I don't cook any of my meat in like a sauce.
Yeah.
I use
Rubs.
5 seasonings, and
Yeah.
that's it. I use salt, pepper, garlic, onion, and cayenne pepper.
Done.
That's literally it. I don't do anything else.
Yeah.
And my wife hates it because I do ground beef and eggs every single morning.
Yeah.
I do half pound of ground beef and 3 eggs, and I just do the salt and pepper. And she's like, "It stinks. Ground beef stinks."
It does.
And I'm like, "Well, it's eggs and ground beef, so yeah, it does stink, but I'm not really eating it. It does taste good, but I'm eating it for what it's gonna do. I'm not eating it for flavor." Okay.
Yeah, I get it.
Definitely.
But Rob, we
Anyway.
appreciate you coming on, man, and giving us your story.
Appreciate
It
you
was
guys
great
having
meeting
me.
you
Thank
today.
you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
No
Thank
doubt.
you.
Well, you guys follow Rob. If you guys need any of his services, you know where to find him. Everything will be we'll link him up in the bios or the whatever you call them, captions,
Descriptions.
Thank
Yeah.
you. But Rob, we can't really cheers with water, but we like to say on the show, send off cheers, chin chin, and salute. We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys on the next one.